your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. On a Wednesday, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Great show from the morning show, as always. Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross, with Anthony filling in for Chris Verlade. Much deserved vacation for Chris Verlade. We're taking you up to 2 p.m. and we're going to hand the keys over to the Drive Guys, and the Drive Guys are going to get you ready for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, heading to Indiana to see if the Pacers can keep pace with the Oklahoma City Thunder, as the Thunder kind of ran them out the gym. And we knew the Thunder, they've been doing it all season long. They love a good blowout. They will blow you the bleep out just for the fun of it. So will the Pacers be able to survive? And even if they get this one and go up 2-1, we know that the Thunder, they are not going anywhere. But let's see, man, if you're looking at the role players for the Thunder, how does, and Jalen Williams is right there on the line, but how does Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, I think that's the question. Are you a high-level role player, or are you going to be a dude? You have Chet Holmgren, you have Jalen Williams. What will they do on the road, and what will the role players do for the Pacers back at home? As we know, role players play much better, typically play much better at home. So excited for this one. I think this is a huge game. I know the ratings have been terrible, and I don't really care because the ratings were always going to be terrible. I think it just says there's just not a lot of connection, right? The storylines that we talked about yesterday, everybody's getting their first. Okay, Shea gets number 1. Cool. Let's see what he does next season. You could make the argument that this same group, when it goes back to the markets and things like that, you could make the argument, and I will make the argument, that if the same thing happens next season, the same exact way, and it's a repeat of this finals, I think that the ratings would be better, because at least you would say, okay, this is part 2, right? Is Shea going to be able to get number 2? And they're going to go back to back, or does Halliburton get his lick back? So I honestly think that it's just right now it's just a random one-off. But you start to build some of these storylines here, and then people will care more regardless of the market. But right now, it's kind of tough sledding. So that game's coming up. Kyle and I will have some fun with our predictions on what could happen there. We are going to break down some of those finals numbers as well, though. The Knicks cannot find their guy, as certain coaches they've reached out to have said no thank you, and other teams that they've reached out to because of their coaches have said no thank you. So this is from Sam Amick along with Christian Clark, NBA reporter for The Athletic as well. The Mavericks strongly believe that Jason Kidd will remain in Dallas and not coach the Knicks. They're telling people that quite loudly too. So the idea, and I sent Kyle a DM, because the idea of quote unquote asking for permission, it feels like these teams have no control. The permission thing is really whether or not that coach wants to go. Right? You talk about, look, I'm in a contract right now. You talk about contracts. Can I be released from my contract? How does that work? It seems like in these situations, nobody wants to keep someone that doesn't want to be there, right? If Jason Kidd didn't want to be there, I don't think the Mavericks would have denied it, because they would still get something back in a trade. Now, would that leverage be different? I'm not sure. But the idea of Ime Udoka and the Rockets saying no, to me, just kind of comes off like that's Ime Udoka saying no thank you. Because if a coach wants to leave, I don't think these teams are in a position to hold them hostage and say, no. It's completely different to the players and those types of contracts. And we know, the coaching stratosphere right now is a bit different. So the reports coming out that apparently Jason Kidd changed his mind. I don't think this says anything about the Mavericks. I think this says more about Jason Kidd changing his mind. So now the Mavericks will say, well, I guess we'll deny you because it seems like Jason Kidd wants to stay.
I think part of it, too, is Jason Kidd may have changed his mind once the Mavericks told him we're not going to allow you to do this thing.
Well, I don't know. That's what I don't know.
That's what it could be, and that would make for a much more interesting next year.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know how much we know that these organizations don't care about disgruntled players, right? Because you have essentially almost more on the line. Disgruntled coaches, you kind of have less on the line, and it's just a different situation. And I just don't know if the Mavericks would say, even though you want to go, you signed our contract and you're going to get over it. I don't know if that's how the Mavericks would approach it, or if they say, fine, go. If you don't want to be, we want people just like our guy Scott Perry. We were talking about Twitter before the show during the crosstalk. Thank you, Dave, for helping to get me to 5,000 on Twitter. A measly 5,000, but I earned it on my own, and I didn't buy any followers. So thank you, Dave, for that stimulus package. But Scott Perry, who is one of my 5,000 followers, Scott Perry saying we want volunteers, not prisoners. Is that how the organization looks at it from a coaching standpoint? Jason, if you want to go, then go.
That's also the tough part with the Mavericks specifically, because since the Luka trade, it feels like everyone in that organization is a hostage.
Right.
I think everyone is like, we want people who want to be here. I think a lot of people would be like, okay, bye. I don't want to be a part of this Looney Tunes show going on in Dallas where we just traded Luka Doncic and they're holding funerals outside the stadium and they're chanting Fire Nico every game and at hockey games and at bars and restaurants. Like I would, if I'm Jason Kidd, I understand if he didn't want to trade Luka, why he would not want to be a part of this dog and pony show of an organization.
But which is why I think that this says more about the idea that Jason Kidd has said he wants to stay more than the Mavericks hold him hostage. But we don't know. We will probably find out shortly, because that's how these things go. Right before our show started, towards the end of the morning show, Shams came out with a banger of an article as it pertains to Kevin Durant. And we're going to break that down in about 7 minutes here as we discuss, number one, which spot can save Kevin Durant's legacy, and number two, which spot would basically be running from the grind. Kyle and I did not agree on a specific team, and Kyle, because he wrote a book on this team, it has a special place in his heart. So we're going to argue in about 6 minutes here. And by the way, all throughout the building, our fearless engineer, Brian, salespeople, this thing is happening where people love when we argue, right? People love when Kyle and I argue. We get text messages, we get hit up when Kyle and I argue. So we're going to argue in about 6 to 7 minutes here about a specific team that I think KD would be running from the grind, and Kyle does not think it would be running from the grind. Have to shout out the Giants, who did something, the San Francisco Giants, who did something that we've never seen. And also shout out to Josh Dubois, who I met about a couple of months ago. Josh, super nice. I think we kind of both are from or he at least lives in the Bay Area now, and we basically used to live we were basically neighbors, and I did not know that. But Josh Dubois is the best at these super random stats, right? And he found this one that is the most San Francisco Giants stat ever. And this was yesterday, and then he follows it up. Giants are the first team in 36 years to win 6 straight games all by 1 run. Okay, and before they won that game, Wilmer Flores on his swinging bunt, great at bat by Wilmer Flores to get that done. The Giants take a 6-5 lead over the Rockies in the 9th and are 3 outs away from their franchise record 6th straight win by exactly 1 run. Last team to do it in the majors, per Sport Radar, was the 1989 Angels, and that was from July 18th to July 24th. So that is pretty cool, pretty Giants, and the torture seems to be back, even though we are in an odd year. So maybe things are changing there. I was watching the A's game as well, and shout out Shooty Babbitt on the A's cast. One of my close friends was coached by Shooty Babbitt back in the day when we were in high school, and Shooty had one of the best breakdowns, and he was just ripping. He was just ripping baseball players about bunting. Just ripping them about bunting, because the A's, the away team, they were down in Anaheim, as we talked to Eric Martins. Yesterday during the coaches show. They had an opportunity. They got the man on second, right, top of the 10th, and I don't even believe they attempted a bunt. They did not even attempt a bunt. They do not score I believe there were I think there might have been 2 strikeouts before Denzel Clark got up and grounded out. And then the Angels come up the next inning and they get it done and they walk off. I can't even remember if the Angels bunted either, but basically Shooty was saying when you're the away team, you have to bunt, or at the very least get that guy over, because you know that in the bottom of the 10th, they're going to have a guy on second, so they can say, okay, well, you didn't bunt, so I'm going to bunt. So Shooty Babbitt with an outstanding breakdown last night, and just really passionate about the A's just unable to take care of business. So they lose a one run game themselves. Is basketball missing the struggle? Draymond Green had some things to say about the difference in basketball when we were growing up and now, how all these kids have 8,000 trainers and how it's affecting the product. I told you guys that I took Toddler Stiles to we took her to her first birthday party. And we're sitting there and we're talking with, different people about what they got going on. And I found out, I did not know this. I found out that what we're doing now is there are 7 and under travel ball teams. This is baseball specifically. I know I was talking basketball, but I'm sure they're doing it too. 7 and under. I did not do travel baseball until I was 14 years old. 14.
I was 11, the first travel team I played for.
7. You know how bad that you got to drive to Manteca to watch 7-year-olds and under?
Yeah, that's not
What are we doing? What are we doing with that?
What are we
Thank
doing?
you. So Draymond talks about how the grind has changed a little bit, and Austin Rivers has some really, really good notes as far as what the league is looking for. It's along the same lines as what we talked about with Kevin O'Connor, but Austin Rivers, I don't know what it is about this guy, and I'm really hard on all of these former players that get behind a mic, and I know he went to Duke, and his daddy is Doc Rivers, but Austin Rivers is captivating to me. I love the way he breaks down the game. So Austin Rivers is talking about how the game has changed, and I want you to think about, as Austin Rivers is talking, when we get to that in, I believe, the 12 o'clock hour, I want you to think about how many dudes on the Kings fit the description of what Austin Rivers is talking about. Last but not least, our trade candidate of the day. It's not Friday, but it's kind of a sanity check, because it ain't anybody that normal people are talking about. This dude is coming off a rookie season in the Eastern Conference. Unfortunately, it ended early due to injury, and it is not Jalen Wells. Now, there is a caveat in how you have to attain him, and you got to take on a bad contract. But I felt like switching it up on this Wednesday. It ain't Brandon Ingram. It ain't CJ McCollum. This is a young, skilled dude. Now, I don't know if this team would want to move off of him, but we are going to think outside the box on this Wednesday. When we return, Kyle and I argue about where Kevin Durant could go to run from the grind. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Shams, I think Stephen A is slightly busier than Shams, but it's close. I was going to say busiest man in sports. It's close, okay?
I thought Stephen A was on with like Jon Stewart yesterday too.
Stephen A might be because Stephen A's gone beyond sports, so it's Stephen A. But if we think specifically with sports, it's close because Shams is doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. Stephen A's not writing, right? Shams is putting out articles as well, and in his most recent article, he says that Rich Kleiman and Kevin Durant's business partner, they are interested in 5 teams, okay? And Kyle and I are ready to argue about one specific team. But real quick, at 10:30, Sam Quinn, CBS Sports, we have fun back and forth. I'm still trying to get him on the show. And he brought up something as it pertains to the Trae Young deal. But in the reality of all of it, to me, it more so begged the question, who is the most valuable piece on the Kings? Because there are 2 names that he brings up, and it ain't Sabonis. Obviously, it's not Zach LaVine. It's not Malik Monk. It's not DeMar DeRozan. But there are 2 names he brings up as it pertains to trying to acquire Trae Young. And it made me think, out of these 2 names, who is more valuable right now? I wonder who it could be. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. But the 5 teams that Kevin Durant is apparently interested in, and we've done this dance before with Jimmy Butler and his agent. Feels like, no disrespect to Jimmy, this is a more buttoned up situation. I mean, both of them are used to doing this, but it just seems like Kevin Durant, with how transparent he is, and they're giving 5 teams here. It's through ESPN, not the same as the Jimmy Butler agent situation where his agent was arguing with people. Then Jimmy ended up going somewhere that was on the initial list. So I think it was Shams actually that put out the leak or whatever. And Jimmy Butler's agent tried to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Shams always knows what he's talking about.
Shams won that battle.
Yes, he
Jimmy
did.
Butler's
Yes, he
agent.
did. Funny enough. So we're going to take Shams at his word on this one. Here are the interested teams. ESPN reporting the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant's business partner, Rich Kleiman, are sorting through trade options with interested teams, mainly featuring Houston, San Antonio, Minnesota, Miami, and New York. So those are the 5 teams. Those are all the teams. No surprises there. All the teams that we've been hearing about, what these teams are willing to give up. You can look at the different packages as far as what Houston give up, San Antonio, Minnesota, Miami, New York. My first thought, Kyle, is I don't know how New York pulls this off. I know how Houston pulls it off, right? And depending on what Kevin Durant's worth, I know how Houston pulls it off. I know how San Antonio pulls it off. I think I know how Miami pulls it off. My worry would be I don't know how New York pulls it off. I'm more confident that Minnesota and Miami could, but it's basically in the order of how Shams has it written. I think the best assets, or the best win or compete now assets, I should say, or young player assets instead of draft assets, Houston, San Antonio, then Minnesota, then Miami, and I would say lastly, New York. I think that's how it all kind of fits.
Yeah, I think the most likely path is OG Anunoby trade, but I just don't think the Knicks want that at this point.
No, I don't think so.
It'd be like Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, like Tyler Kolek, and like draft picks. If assuming they want to keep Carl, which maybe they don't want to keep Carl. Yeah, it would be Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Tyler Kolek, and draft picks. So I don't think the Knicks thing is going to happen.
No, I don't see it happening either.
Also don't know why the Knicks would really want it.
So here's why Kyle and I were fist fighting before the show. Okay, I'm just kidding in case HR is listening. Here is why Kyle and I were fist fighting before the show. Okay, because there's a specific team here, and the specific team is San Antonio. So we were talking about the legacy of Kevin Durant and what could save his legacy. I think Houston is in that conversation, right, as it pertains to running from the grind, if you will. I think he could easily be the missing piece in Houston. I mean, their best player is who is Şengün, or a guy who just finished his second year, and Amen Thompson or Fred VanVleet, who they're giving $44 million to. So I think Houston helps Kevin Durant's legacy. I think Minnesota is tougher, but I think it would. I think it'd be a great story, right? Because maybe it's not even about the actual players. I think Anthony Edwards getting to play with his idol, I think that's a good enough story that people would love it.
And helping pass on to the next generation.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a great ending story.
KD passing the torch to Anthony Edwards.
New York, I don't think that helps anything, and I just don't think they can do it.
That would be a mess for everyone.
Yes, so we're not going to spend our time on New York, which means that's probably where he's going to end up going. Miami, I think it's heat culture. I don't think it hurts his legacy, but
they're just not going to win anything.
You're not going to win anything. Braun went there, then you lose, and Braun won there. I don't get it.
I promise you, Kevin Durant, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo will not be winning anything.
And last but not least, San Antonio. So, Kyle, I don't want to speak for you, but essentially I thought that going to San Antonio with the alien, with Area 51, Victor Wembanyama, was running from the grind. And Kyle, essentially, your argument was they haven't won anything. They didn't even make the playoffs. How the play-in, how could that be running from the grind?
Yeah, I don't understand why Houston and San Antonio are any different, other than you're making the point San Antonio has Wemby.
Yes.
And therefore they're going to be better. But everyone believes they're going to be better. But
it's the school project thing.
Sure, but
he's the football player where all the rest of the nerds have pretty much finished the project, and then he does more than present it. He throws on a little something at the end and gets to present it.
Sure, but they haven't built anything yet.
Yes, they have. You got De'Aaron, you got Wemby,
right?
You got untouchable Stephon Castle, Rookie of the Year.
We all expect they're going to be good, but they're not good. Like, this team needs Kevin Durant in order to be a playoff contender.
The Warriors needed Kevin Durant.
The Warriors did not need Kevin Durant.
They needed another score. They needed to not have Harrison Barnes.
Right. They needed an upgrade. They did not They did not need Harrison Barnes to the greatest small forward of his generation.
That's running from the grind, Kyle.
No, San Antonio.
Yes, it is.
San Antonio is a bad team right now. Okay.
No.
San Antonio has not made the playoffs in 7 years. When Wemby doesn't play, their offensive rating is like one of the worst in the league. They need an offensive wing.
Yeah, they need to. Okay, go get Cam Johnson.
Sure. Okay. But you're making the point of De'Aaron Fox and Wemby is enough.
No. I'm not saying it's enough. I'm saying Kevin Durant is going to a ready-made situation again.
It's not ready-made.
It is ready-made.
They haven't won more than 35 games in 7 years.
Okay, then you could say that the Miami Heat with LeBron wasn't ready-made.
They won a championship 4 years earlier with Dwayne Wade.
That's a whole high school career.
7 years since the Spurs have made the playoffs. Wow. This team is, yes, we all expect going to be better next season, but if they're running it back with Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Harrison Barnes.
No, they're not doing that.
Yeah, because they're going to trade it for Kevin Durant.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Here is my order of Kevin Durant running from the grind, okay? And the first would be running the furthest from the grind, and the last would be running closer. New York, Minnesota, San Antonio, Miami, Houston.
I guess my only flip would just be Miami and San Antonio because and Minnesota also. So I guess I would go most running from the grind would be Knicks. Yeah, I guess Timberwolves, Spurs, Rockets, Heat. because the Heat, that's not a fun place to play.
It's Victor Wembanyama. You always talk about Victor Wembanyama.
And he's going to be. My point is just that there's no difference between jumping on board with the Rockets, who won 50 games last year as the number 2 seed, and jumping on board with the Spurs. They're both young teams that need Kevin Durant to get over the hump.
The Rockets, first of all, what they did was cute, okay?
The Spurs didn't do that.
Wembanyama is 5 times better than anybody on the Rockets. That's my argument.
Right now, he might be as
the Rockets if the Rockets and the Spurs played tomorrow, if we were looking at the best players, it would go Wemby 1.
Wemby, then probably Sengun. No, probably De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, yeah, don't switch now.
No, it's probably De'Aaron Fox now that I think about it.
Then
I don't know,
Sengun.
Sengun was an all-star last year. Then Sengun, but also I think I could probably name 5 or 6 Rockets before we get to another Spur.
It gets down to Stephon Castle. That's what it is. Hold on now. We're way over time. All right, we will rehash this in about an hour or so. I clearly won that one, so we'll go round 2 in a little bit. 530 says, fight, world star. Ask Kyle if he even knows what that is. I can tell you 530.
Doesn't really matter.
He does not.
Doesn't really matter.
When we return, Sam Quinn had thoughts on the Trae Young deal, but I want to talk about the names that he brought up in order to attain Trae Young and who has the most value on the Kings. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need drain or sewer work? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We use advanced camera inspections and diagnostics to identify the issues. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise Guys. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience, we get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today for a free plumbing estimate or book online at NoSurpriseGuys.com. That's NoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton and Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, what's going on for the Employee Pricing Plus sales event?
Anyone can get you employee pricing, but at Hoblet, it's all about the plus that you can only get here. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on brand new 2025 heavy-duty Ram 2500 and 3500s. We have over 500 new Rams available, so your new Ram is waiting at Hoblet.
Well, how do you like the new heavy-duty trucks?
I love it. I took the new Ram 2500 with the high-output diesel and 8-speed transmission to Tahoe last weekend, and I have to say, I've not had this much fun driving a new truck in a long time. I've been driving diesels for 25 years, and this is easily the most fun, most powerful, and most responsive truck so far.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
13,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 2500 and 3500 Laramie after 4,000 factory rebates and 9,000 dealer discounts. Rebates may include 2,500 select inventory bonus cash and $500 on the job upfit. Must show eligible upfit. Aid at this net savings. Sample VIN 525043. See dealer for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
916-339-1140, taking you up to 2 p.m. And this is what Sam Quinn of CBS had to say. We have some sound that we're going to get to from Shams as far as the coaching situation with the Knicks and whether or not they're going to be able to get their guy. When I saw what Shams said, though, it did more so make me feel like the organizations do have the control. And, I think the Mavs situation versus the Rockets and certain other teams is just different, because if Jason Kidd could say, hey, I thought I was coaching Luka and now he's gone, there's a bunch of drama, but an Ime Udoka or Chris Finch, based on how their seasons ended, it's a bit harder for them to say, hey, it's not as if, hey, this is a bigger market, so help me out here. No, you're all getting paid millions of dollars, so we don't have to help you out. You signed the contract here, and you are going to honor it. So it comes off more like the Mavs is just a situation where the Mavs organization might not have as much control, rather than just organizations in general not having that much control. So we're going to play that for you in about 10 minutes here. But Sam Quinn said this, all right, coming off of the report from Grant Afseth yesterday that we talked about kind of in detail and at length. Sam Quinn said, as a rule, and this is about Trae Young, as a rule, I tend to believe that if you can get your hands on Sacramento picks, you usually should, which is fairly disrespectful, but we'll continue. It's not that he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
Sam Quinn also has been not a fan of the Kings in the past.
But, I mean, he is not wrong, right? Let's just call a spade a spade. He is not wrong. So he says that. Then he goes on to say, if I'm Atlanta and the Kings are offering me some combination of Keegan, Ellis, and their picks for Trae, right before I have to negotiate an extension with him, I'm listening. Now, whether or not the Kings continue their conversations with Trae or Darius Garland, where I want to take this is who has the most value on the Kings right now, and we can eliminate majority of the Kings and really boil this down to who has more value if you are a team looking to do business with the Kings. Is it Keegan Murray or is it Keon Ellis?
I think the bar we're saying is who's the second most valuable player on the Kings, right? Because we all agree it's Domantas Sabonis number 1.
I do think that that is the correct answer, but because of money and things like that, and Domantas is in a different situation.
Yes, and they don't want to trade him.
Yes,
of course.
As of today, we think.
So let's just do a little thought exercise that I think will help answer the question. Because obviously he's a restricted free agent if they decline the team option.
Mm-hmm.
What would you offer Keon Ellis as like an extension? If like he were a free agent tomorrow, you had to pay market rate, it's not a restricted free agency thing where they can limit what he gets. What would you give Keon Ellis as a contract offer?
I believe, when we did that report a couple months ago, it came out that Keon's value was somewhere, it came off, what was it, about $14 million a year?
Oh, the underrated player?
Yes, it was about $14 million a year. And that's kind of a limited Keon who was in the doghouse earlier in the season. So I would say Keon is a little under, I would say personally Keon is a little under 20 a year. I would say about 18 mil a year or something.
Okay, so like 4 years, 72 is what you would offer, projecting that he will get better over the life of that contract. So if it's 4 for 72 for Keon, what are you offering Keegan Murray as a contract extension? Because we talked about this one more at length. He's probably going to be somewhere in that 20 to 25 range, but more specifically, you, Allen Stiles, what would you offer Keegan Murray?
Yeah, from what we had discussed, and not, to bring up the Trey Murphys of the world and guys like that, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, we had said about a shade under 25. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think we had it at like, he was going to get $100 million, but it was either going to be like a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal or something like that. Yeah.
By the way, just because of their timelines, people might not necessarily understand the age differences. Keegan Murray is younger than Keon Ellis, by the way.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray turns 25 in August, okay? Keon turned 25 in January, just so people are aware, because Keon came in a little later. Even in my mind, I'm thinking, is he younger? No, he's actually not.
Yeah, so I think the way we're headed towards it is that Keegan is a slightly more valuable player than Keon Ellis right now. If you had to offer both of them contract extensions today, I think Keegan Murray's getting a longer and more lucrative contract extension than Keon Ellis. It's not by a lot, but I think talking it out, we probably agree that Keegan is slightly more valuable than Keon Ellis. Now, it might be depressing to say those are your 2 and 3rd most valuable pieces if you're the Sacramento Kings.
Not once we hear from Austin Rivers. You might actually feel better about the Kings. And I'm look, remember that 916 from yesterday? Positive Allen is here today.
Optimistic Allen.
Optimistic Allen's back.
I'm scrolling to our list of types of Kings fans. Not unrealistic, delusional, self-loathing, nihilistic, anarchist, apathetic, down bad, blissful, nostalgic for 2002, just happy to be here, skeptically hopeful, dead inside. We're winning 40 games this year. Doom and gloom. De'Aaron Fox was right. Sell the team, masochist, or that local guy, Drew.
Optimistic today.
You're that. Okay. You're not any of those other things.
So I think the bigger thing, no pun intended, is I would say Keegan's position is why, number one, he's younger, and number two, I like Keon a lot, but he is hardly a wing, and we've seen him get Keegan. We've seen him guard point guards, and we've seen him guard 4s. We've even seen him guard 5s, even though he shouldn't be doing that. Keon can't do that.
Brennan Nunez, I think this was back near the end of the season, had a really insightful point on Keon that's just stuck with me for months and months. It was when he was on with Dave, and Dave asked if Keon Ellis had been a first-round pick, would we be starting him? And this was the Keon versus Malik Monk thing.
Right.
And Brennan made the point, I think if Keon Ellis had better ability to play make and dribble moves and a more versatile defensive skill set where he could guard 1s or guard 3s, he's very specifically good at defensive spacing and guarding 2s. He's like, if he had ball handling abilities and the ability to guard multiple positions at a better clip, not getting – they put him on Jalen Brunson and Jalen Brunson cooks, or they put him on James Harden and James Harden cooks him. He said if he had those abilities, I think he would have been a first-round pick.
Right.
So I think he's kind of making the point of like – it's great that he's a found money guy and we didn't expect this from his career, but there are still limitations in his game that we don't acknowledge as much because we're just happy that he is as good as he is and as valuable as he is.
Right. The answer is Keegan Murray, and it should be Keegan Murray based on all the things we just said. He's a 4th overall pick. Keon, undrafted, trying to grind out of the G League. I think it's just a testament to Keon that we're even having this conversation and that it's as close as it is. And to Kyle's point, kind of says something about where the Kings are as far as their young talent. But we're optimistic today. So we're just going to say, hey, at least we got 2 of them guys. And this is where the league is trending, right? So quick decisions, 3-point shooters, and can defend at a high level. When we return, we hear from Shams on the coaching carousel. Also, is the NBA missing the struggle? Draymond Green says yes. Sound Style, Sac Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are 2 new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
This summer, give your kids a reason to smile, brightly. At Kids Care Dental, we make dental visits fun with a kid-friendly team, easy to schedule appointments, and expert doctors who really care.
Whether it's a checkup, a cleaning, or their very first visit, we've got you covered. We accept most insurances, and we're always ready when your schedule gets hectic.
Smiles grow here. Book online in minutes at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com. Kids Care Dental, where healthy teeth make happy kids.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Hot summer savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,000 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado half-ton LT and RST in stock. Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,000 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Just trading 2011 or new. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
Carmichael Dave here. Father's Day, June 15th, and Timber Creek just handed you the perfect gift idea. Now through Father's Day, when you stop by the Pro Shop, it's buy 2 dozen, get 1 free on select Srixon golf balls. Yeah, Z-Star, Q-Star, Soft Deal, all the good stuff. So whether you're shopping for dad, or let's be honest, you are the dad, this is your sign to stock up and get back out there. Best part, you're doing it at Sacramento's top-rated course, Timber Creek and Sierra Pines. Deal ends Father's Day, June 15th. Go get them.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. And we are going to hear from Shams. Had to double check it because he was on with McAfee, and you just never know what's going to happen with Pat McAfee on his show. But this is Shams. Kyle, we got it. This is Shams' kind of update on what's going on with the coaching carousel.
When you fire a coach who made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, and you don't really, it doesn't seem like they had a direct path to a coach, whether it's someone that's available like a Taylor Jenkins, a Michael Malone, a Mike Brown, whether it's a coach from another team. Like, this is not the first time a coach from another team might move. But as I reported last night and this morning, the Knicks made permission requests over the last 24, 48 hours on Chris Finch of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Ime Udoka of the Houston Rockets, and this morning, Jason Kidd of the Dallas Mavericks. All three were given swift denials. I'm told. I'm told. Like these were the reactions. Teams are saying no, hanging up. Teams are saying F no. Teams are saying, like, having the owner call and say, what is, like, we're not doing this. And so I think like those were the reactions that I heard from those three denials. And so now the Knicks, where they're going to go from here, I think one thing, they're going to keep an open mind on all these candidates. I do give them credit for trying to see what could be out there with some of these available coaches. But again, this is a very unorthodox process.
That was Shams on the situation as far as the Knicks is concerned. And yeah, I think that, look, if you're the Knicks, you feel like you're a certain level, okay? And that could annoy me. That could annoy you. It is what it is. And we're learning that I just not really sure to flip this. If you're the Rockets, I guess if you don't ask, you don't know, right? As the old saying goes. But why would any of these teams who were all successful this past season, and to be fair, I guess if you're the Knicks, you're saying, well, Michael Malone got fired, even though the playoffs hadn't started yet, and some fairly successful coaches have gotten canned. We just canned a coach that just went to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is more on the Knicks. But I'm just not really sure why a team like the Rockets or the Timberwolves would say, yeah, interview our guy. That goes back to how we started the show, unless the coach is making a bit of a stink about it.
So the way I think of this is kind of like that, you know, that meme of Vince McMahon where he just constantly keeps getting more shocked as you go along. Yes. It's like Kings firing a coach 31 games into the season, Memphis firing a coach of the year type coach with 2 weeks left in the season. And then the Nuggets firing Michael Malone 3 days before the end of the regular season. And then the Knicks kind of took it too far, where it's like these other ones were crazy, but at least you could defend the decision-making process based on what they did in the aftermath, right? Like the Kings had a replacement in-house. Whether you think he's better than Mike Brown, they at least had a replacement they knew they wanted as the long-term coach. Memphis had a replacement they wanted as the long-term coach. Denver was willing to give Adelman a test run, and then they succeeded, and he ultimately gets the long-term job. The Knicks made this decision with no plan of what they wanted to do in place of Tibbs. And so it feels like now they have egg on their face in a way that these other organizations did shocking things, but the processes were different.
Yeah, that's a good call. And if you're the Knicks, did you fire Tibbs? You have to have a contingency plan. And maybe they still do. We just don't know what it is. Maybe the contingency plan is just Michael Malone, right? Who I know we've talked about, maybe he's too similar to Tibbs. Maybe it's Michael Malone. Maybe it's maybe Mike Brown is just waiting next to the phone and they're saying, hey, you understand how it goes. We're going to see if we can get one of these kind of highly touted coaches that still has a job. And if we can't get them, then we'll call you. It's like the dating apps. I was just talking to a buddy. He said he went on a nice date. Okay. But he's, it's the dating apps. There's a ladder. Every man and woman, they have a ranking system, and you could be on a date and you don't know, am I your number 2? Am I your number 1? Am I your number 3? And maybe they have a number at this point, maybe their number 1 was just any of these current coaches, and they still have a number 2, a number 3 that if you're Mike Brown, what are you going to do? Say, you got to get in where you fit in and kind of know your rank. I'm just using Mike Brown as an example for a coach that might be in the conversation, but waiting. What are you going to say? No, I deserve to know now. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't got a job.
I think Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins, I'm with you. Michael Malone is a more interesting case because one, he's already doing the television thing.
Right. Or you just don't do the job.
Yeah. Michael Malone is different though, because I think if he waits a cycle, I know the Knicks were just in the conference finals, but like a better job than the Knicks might come available if you waited out a year. I don't think that's the case for Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins, because I don't think people are like knocking down the door trying to get Mike Brown or Taylor Jenkins as their next head coach. I think we talked about this with Mike a while back, how if Mike's going to get another head coaching job, it's probably going to be with a young team that's kind of rebuilding, that they can kind of take it from scratch and see where it goes, because that was kind of the job he took in Sacramento. With Malone, I think it's different because I think he can wait it out, and if the Spurs job comes available because it didn't work last year, or one of these teams with a young star like the Lakers comes available or something, I think Malone might be able to wait it out and get a better job. But maybe that's what the money maybe that's what the money and the chance to coach Jalen Brunson does, is it makes all that sour grapes go away.
Yeah, so that's the update there. And I don't know. I mean, if you're the Knicks, I think it's time for the contingency plan now. You're not going to keep on. You're just going to hit up random teams. You just want this kind of it's giving off the Niners getting Trey Lance, to where we don't necessarily know if the Niners wanted Trey Lance. They just felt like any of the top quarterbacks would have been better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So, okay, Ime Udoka, they said no. The Timberwolves said no. And the Mavericks essentially said no. So are you just going to be hitting up rant? Do you have a type? Going back to the dating, do the Knicks have a type, or do they just want anybody that's currently coaching is better than Tibbs? I mean, I feel like this is, if they do this again, it would damn near be disrespectful to Tibbs. Just go find, not that they care, but just go get a guy that go, promote somebody, promote Brunson's daddy, even though that might tick off some of the players. But I don't think you can go through another round of let's hit up current coaches. Clearly, nobody that you want is going to be available.
Well, also, how do you think the coaches feel now that they know they're the secondary current coaches that the Knicks are trying? Like, they wanted
But that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, like if I'm trying to think of who a funny example would be for this experience. Oh, if you're Jamal Mosley in Orlando, which for those who don't know, Mosley was an assistant in Dallas when Brunson was there. If you're Jamal Mosley, how do you feel about, like, you already tried to get 4 other coaches and now you're coming to me? I don't feel like I should leave my situation in Orlando to go coach you as your 5th choice for a current active coach. I think that their chance to pry a coach away from another team is probably running out of time.
Well, and the other side of this is if you are not that first choice, if you will, your hook and your leash could be quicker as well because they didn't fully believe in you. So we'll see what happens there when we return. UPS Chris did get it right. Did get the trade candidate right. This is an interesting one because we're looking for a specific young player, but you're going to have to take on a bad contract in order to get him. His season ended in injury, and he was a rookie. That's all we're going to tell you. It's a fun one coming up in about 3 minutes. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
We get it. Tariffs are tough. Power tools are getting expensive. But at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, we're solving that problem for 2 short days on June 20th and June 21st. We're putting all DeWalt power tools on massive discount. Batteries for less than $100. Combo kits for under $150. 20% off all regular price Tough System boxes and much, much more. So stop by Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet in Sacramento on June 20th and 21st for some of the lowest prices on tools you'll ever see this year. To see all of what's on sale, visit FastenersInc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need drain or sewer work? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We use advanced camera inspections and diagnostics to identify the issues. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise guys. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience. We get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today for a free plumbing estimate or book online at NoSurpriseGuys.com. That's NoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblet, Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, tell me what's happening for the Employee Pricing Plus sales event.
Anyone can get you employee pricing, but at Hoblet, it's all about the plus. You can only get here. Save up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 crew cabs. One of the many reasons we are the #1 Ram truck dealer in California.
But why do you think Hoblet's consistently California's #1 Ram truck dealer?
You won't find a better price on the Ram truck you need. And with 500 new Rams available, no one has a better selection. Plus, being a 5th-generation family-owned dealer, you get the big city selection and savings with the small town service, and we have 7 Walter P. Chrysler Service Awards to prove it.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
16,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie after 6,000 factory rebates and 10,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 2,500 select inventory bonus cash, 500 on the job upfit, must show eligible upfit. Employee pricing factored into dealer discount. 5% net savings. Sample VIN 711632. See dealer for details.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
11 o'clock on the dot, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we are talking about our trade candidate of the day. I wanted to do it a little bit differently today. I said, Kyle, I don't know that I need a sanity check on a Wednesday. Normally we save those for Fridays.
Yeah, but I'm not. Today's my Friday, Alan.
That's right.
I'm not going to be here the next 2 days.
That's right.
I guess I am. I'm going to be doing the morning show tomorrow.
You're going to be doing the morning show, and we have Anthony or Ramsey.
I think Ramsey Thursday, Friday.
Okay,
but I'm doing the morning show tomorrow, and then not here on Friday.
There you go. So this is essentially Kyle's Friday, at least on the show.
Yeah, I still have to wake up at 4:30 tomorrow.
There you go. And that's fun. I like getting up before maybe that's just, I'm getting another gray hair. I like getting up before the sun, the early bird, as they say. And UPS Chris guessed this correctly. Like I said, this is kind of a hybrid deal, if you will. And the trade candidate of the day, I never thought I'd be saying this, a shooting guard trying to make things right. Jared McCain of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Bring him home.
Bring him home. Bring our guy home. Shouldn't have even been in this situation to begin with. You're going to take a guard.
He's also kind of the same as DeRozan because I think he left like before high school to go to one of those schools.
No, he did. He went to high school actually, he went to high school in Southern California, so he never left home. If DeRozan's home,
he's been home the entire time.
Philadelphia
is home.
Is the whole state of California. Jared McCain was taken with the 16th pick in the 2024 draft. Born in Sacramento, California, went to Duke. He was a rookie this season, unfortunately tore his ACL, but in 23 games, he set the world on fire. He was essentially the front runner for Rookie of the Year, and then he had that injury. In 23 games, he averaged 15.3 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists. Yeah, he's definitely more of a shooting guard, not even as much of a playmaker yet, I'd say, as a Malik Monk. 46% from the field, 38% from three, 87% from the free throw line. Yeah, it's a very small sample size, but this is essentially not even a secondary draft, right? We're not even there yet, which it'll be hard to pry him away from the Sixers. But I also don't know what the Sixers are doing, and that will lead us into how the Kings could acquire him. The good thing about these young players is there's a lot of team control, right? So he's 21 years old, or he's 20 now. He'll be 21 during the 25-26 season, or he just turned 21 in February. So a young 21 or a young-ish 21, club option in 26-27, another club option 27-28. One of those we'll be talking about an extension, of course, but you got him on a really good deal if you believe in what you saw in these 23 games. Like I said, it's going to be really hard to pry him away. Maybe that ACL makes the conversation a little bit more interesting. They have Tyrese Maxey. I don't know that they're 1,000% redundant, but I just don't know that Joel Embiid, they're just a mess, right? And I don't know that Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain are going to be leading you to a championship per se, even if you move off of Joel Embiid. So it might just be a situation where let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can move off of. And like I said, we're about to lead into why in the world the Sixers would do this.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it in a sec, but Jared McCain is not a perfect prospect, but the reason he's so valuable is that you get 7 years of team control on that player. And I'm very high on him because it's hard to find we talk about 5-tool players in the NBA. He doesn't have 5 tools, but the hardest tool to find is a guy who can get you 25 points every single night. Mm-hmm. And Jared McCain looks to be that, given the fact that he was basically putting up 20 a night for a bad Sixers team. Right. But when you're 19 years old and putting up nearly 20 points a game in the NBA, you think that they might have something special there.
Yeah. And again, I know it's not that hard to find scores. I get all that. But the kicker to this, and what could maybe entice the Sixers would essentially be he's 20 years old or 21 years old, coming off a torn ACL, small sample size, not a great defender right now, to say the least. But the kicker would be if you are the 76ers and they have positioned themselves in a way and postured themselves in a way that I personally don't believe, because we don't know how much Joel Embiid is going to play. No, I'm not talking about taking on Joel Embiid because there's just too many years left on his deal. But yes, I am talking about taking a flyer on a Paul George and essentially saying to the 76ers, look, we're calling your bluff. You don't want to keep Paul George. Paul George is owed a lot of money, a lot of money.
Him and Zach LaVine are kind of tied for like one of the 5 worst contracts in the NBA.
There's 3 years left on the deal. Okay. And like I said, about 5 minutes here, we'll get to those actual deals. But hey, Sixers, you're stuck with Joel Embiid. Nobody is he's not serviceable, right? But Paul George at 51 mil, just give us Jared McCain, who, again, I like Jared McCain. Is he going to be a superstar? I don't know about that. So you're essentially doing 2 things at once, where you're getting a 35-year-old Paul George to pair him with, and he can handle the basketball, not a ton, but he can handle the basketball.
Can do it enough.
To pair him with Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis. And yes, I know he's more of a shooting guard than a point guard in Jared McCain, but you get a scorer and maybe he can evolve a little bit and play make enough. So you have an older big 3, right? I don't know who's better at this point between Paul George and DeMar DeRozan. It's Paul George when he plays.
I don't know. Paul George was pretty bad last year.
No, he was bad, but he couldn't stay on the court either. But you're basically saying 3 years or 2 years of Paul George, Domantas Sabonis, and Zach LaVine, then everything clears out. Domantas Sabonis, if it doesn't work, it's one of those deals where if it doesn't work, Domantas Sabonis asked out for that last year, and somebody would be interested because he'd only have one more. You'd be stuck with Paul George. Zach LaVine would be off the books at that point. You get through there one more year with Paul George. I don't know. Maybe he's just ring chasing at that point. And
go
ahead.
And you're probably tanking at this point.
You're tanking at this point. You're rocking and rolling. Now, Jared McCain's only 23. So you have a young Jared McCain. You have Jared McCain at 23. You have Keegan Murray at 27, right? You have Keon Ellis at 27, 28. You have Devin Carter, right? Unless we got to deal him. We're going to find out in about 3 minutes here. So that's a world I wouldn't mind living in. You see if Paul George has anything left. His value is terrible right now. You're probably not going to get a pick because you're getting Jared McCain, and you see what happens. That is not I know Paul George's contract is terrible, but if you're, again, caveat, if you're refusing to tear it down right now, okay, let's see what happens, and we get a Jared McCain for when this doesn't work.
So while this is obviously unlikely, because if you're the Sixers, you want to see what Jared McCain is going to be with, 7 years of relatively good value in a team-controlled contract. They also signed Paul George without knowing what Jared McCain would become. Mm-hmm. So now they're kind of stuck. And maybe they say, well, we'll just move Paul George and not give up Jared McCain to make it happen. But Kings fans have complained, some of them, about the Trae Young, Zach LaVine backcourt and how awful defensively that would be.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain backcourt also looks like it's going to be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Joel Embiid makes that fix, but the Sixers just have to pick a timeline is honestly the easiest answer I can give you. Because right now they have a former MVP who is exiting his prime and has health concerns.
Mm-hmm.
You have an over-the-hill 35-year-old making a lot of money. You have a 25-year-old max point guard, and you have a 20-year-old shooting guard. All four of your best players are all on different timelines. And oh, by the way, you also have the number 3 pick in the draft, where it seems like
that's true.
Seems like they're probably going to draft VJ Edgecombe, which is a power forward.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you would be 5 players on 4 different timelines, all making either max contracts or close to the max contract. They just kind of have to pick a lane.
Right.
You're kind of, and you came up with this one. You're making the point of maybe they pick the lane of we're going to try and compete now.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, we're going to have to move off of Paul George's contract.
Well, and what would actually happen, assuming they keep number 3, which I don't know why they would. That's the thing. That's why it's posturing, because they came out and said, we're not moving Paul George or Joel Embiid. So why are you keeping the number 3 pick? That doesn't make a ton of sense.
Because they're the zombie 76ers, as I call them. They're on 4 different timelines. None of it makes sense, which I will point out, the Thunder are a good example of, like, you do need a blend of max contract guys and guys on their rookie contract because you just can't afford all of them. But the whole thing is predicated on Joel Embiid. So if you're making this point, you're saying whenever Embiid is healthy and able to lead us to a championship again, then we will have a better supporting cast than we've ever had before, because we're going to have McCain on a rookie contract, Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, I guess maybe another young player by that point.
Yeah.
But the Paul George thing just kind of boxes them in a little bit on what they can do.
Right. Because the reality is, if you are the Kings and they were refusing, let's say they want to pair Edgecombe with McCain, which is probably more likely, then it would be, okay, well, then we'll take Paul George. But I don't know, Kyle, for Paul George, if you think they're going to be decent because they're in the East and it's such a gamble with Embiid, if you're taking Paul George by himself, let's say we're doing the same deal because Jared McCain isn't making any money. So whatever deal we talk about here in about 60 seconds here, you do that deal, and then I'm going to need at least 1 first rounder, probably a first rounder and a swap. Maybe the Sixers do. The Sixers are going to have to pick Jared McCain or 1 to 2 of their draft picks, because if they want to move off of Paul George, because nobody is just trading for Paul George for the money.
Well, unless they're trading another bad contract, right? Like
Zach LaVine.
That is a possibility. I'm thinking like the Michael Porter Jr. Zeke Naji package.
Or Beal.
Yeah, exactly. The point is they're either attaching something to move Paul George to a tanking or...
And why would that team want another bad contract?
It's just to get off of their own bad contract.
Hey.
But again, that doesn't help the Sixers. It just is reshuffling the cards.
Right. Unless they get some pieces we think they can use now, which is what we're going to discuss when we return. Don't move. Outside Sac Sports.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy, and oh my goodness, I'm born and raised here. I know it gets hot, but my goodness, we're already seeing 100-degree days. Listen to me. You do not want your system to conk out in the middle of June or July or August with one of those big 100-degree stretches. You want to make sure you're good all summer long. And my friends at American Energy Heating and Air can do that with a $24.50 tune-up right now. That's half price. And if you need a new system, $3,500 off, up to $3,500 off in rebates for qualified systems. They've been around since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call them right now, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Jared McCain and Paul George. Bit of a package deal for the trade candidate. You're trying to get Jared McCain, get a little bit younger, but it's going to cost you, okay? And it's going to cost you in that you would have to take on Paul George's contract. And I am objectively fascinated in what Paul George will do next season. Did we just see the guy fall off a cliff, or was it just a bad season? Because he's 35 now. You look around at these dudes that are elder statesmen. Steph Curry is an anomaly. LeBron James is an anomaly. I don't think enough people call DeMar DeRozan an anomaly, but I kind of feel like he is, or he's close to it. Paul George, back in his day, he could defend. He could obviously score the basketball. He could take over. Last season was so riddled with injuries, which, again, is part of the whole age thing. Don't get old, people. I don't know what Paul George is now. I don't know if he stinks, or I don't know if it was a one-off bad season riddled with injuries.
Well, let's look at it from the same standpoint of the Sixers and the Clippers, right? James Harden, which the Clippers had 1 year with both of them, but if you look at it in hindsight, they basically swapped James Harden for Paul George. Mm-hmm. James Harden's the same age as Paul George, and he just made All-NBA this season. I think James Harden, who treated his body like you-know-what for 10 years and is still at an All-NBA level, kind of tells me that Paul George has a chance to get back to being I'm not saying he's going to be All-NBA, but a chance to be a number 2 or number 3 on a contending team. But the Sixers got a lot of other questions outside of Paul George to answer.
Huge offseason, I would say, for Paul George to just get his body right the best way he can. Put the mic put the mic down, Paul George. Podcast P. Put the mic down.
I kind of liked Podcast P show.
He played 41 games, which is better than some players that we've talked about on this show before. In 41 games, he averaged 16.2 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 43% from the field, 35% from three, 81% from free throws. So, it's not as if it basically he literally played half the games. He played half the games, and he took how many? 6.5 threes a game. He's just out there chucking. Nothing wrong with that. And he played 32.5 minutes per game. So is there something left? The year before, 33, he played 74. He played 74 games, okay? 33.8 minutes per game. Did that burn him out, or was this just a one-off season? Before that, he played 56 games in 2023. Before that, he played 31 games, 3-1 in 2022. Before that, 54 games, then 48. Ugh, my goodness. This is a rough one.
It's not about Paul George.
It's not about Paul George.
It's about Jared McCain.
But I'm trying to sell people. I'm trying to convince somebody, I don't know who, that this deal makes sense. Okay, Kyle, how many deals do we have today?
2.
All right, let's hear the first one.
First one is based on the one that you came up with originally, which was DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk for Jared McCain and Paul George, which it's not going to be enough to get it done. But
on which
the Kings side.
Okay.
You're not getting Jared McCain for Malik Monk. So we got to throw in Devin Carter. Okay. We got to throw in one of the Charlotte seconds, which we expect will be somewhere in the 30s. So you're looking at DeRozan, Malik Monk, Devin Carter, who, by the way, was drafted 3 picks ahead of Jared McCain just last year. Devin Carter and the Charlotte second. So that would leave the Kings with Zach LaVine, Jared McCain, a truly terrible defensive backcourt.
All right.
Zach LaVine, Jared McCain, Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan. They would probably have to they're sending DeRozan out here. So then you would have Podcast P, that's right. So I guess it would be Keon coming off the bench, or McCain? I guess McCain coming off the bench.
I think I like McCain coming off the bench.
Yeah, it would be McCain coming off the bench with I guess they still need a point guard then. I guess Podcast P can be the ball handler with Sabonis. So
and Tyus is there somewhere.
Sure. Let's say Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, yes. There we go.
All the OGs. Oh my God.
Yes.
Could you imagine how many jerseys the Kings would sell of Chris Paul, Paul George, and Jared McCain? My God.
Yeah.
Just so many jerseys.
I think we need to think this through. Ownership.
Then off the bench, we would have, I guess in the situation, Tyus Jones, Jared McCain, Valanciunas, and maybe LaRavia.
That's a 6 seed, baby.
That is maybe a 7 seed.
That is a 6 seed.
Again,
I get a motivated Paul George. I get just a dog in Jared McCain. Basically a younger Malik Monk, essentially, is what you're getting.
Oh,
cheaper. Malik Monk with more control, more team control.
I know Kings fans would be excited about having Jared McCain, but how are you going to justify paying $100 million to Zach LaVine and Paul George?
Look, it's a means to an end. They buying them jerseys, though. I'm telling you, motivated Paul George. He comes back home. He's from Palmdale, California.
He went to Fresno State.
That's right.
Fresno State's only 3 hours away.
That's right. He's coming on home. Come on now. All right, what's the second? And am I doing this? It's a little hefty. You
don't have to trade a first-round pick, but you do have to trade Devin Carter.
Yeah, it comes down to Jared McCain.
Which, by the way, that sucks that Devin Carter, who was picked 3 picks ahead of Jared McCain, now has less value than Jared McCain.
But that's what happens when you don't play.
Well, and you're older.
Those are two very important things, Kyle.
Yeah, I know. They both have injury problems.
Yeah, but ACL, schmacl, man, those things, they cook them back very easily. The only reason I'll do the deal. I'll do it. I'll do the deal. Why not? What's the next one?
All right. So the second one is
I'm not going to like this.
It's the Zach LaVine one, which is you gotta give up on Zach LaVine to get Paul George, which honestly some people might like more, but those contracts are kind of equally as bad. So now we have to. A Zach LaVine for Paul George trade would work 1-for-1, but we got to get Jared McCain in here somehow.
Right.
So in this deal, it would be the Sixers getting to pair with Tyrese Maxey, Keon Ellis, and then the Kings would throw in a protected first-round pick.
Whoa. Why?
Because Keon Ellis for Jared McCain is not a fair swap. Jared McCain's got 7 years of team control left.
Where's my hell no? Where's Mike Malone?
Hell no.
Hell no. We're not doing that.
Would you trade Keon Ellis for Jared McCain?
Yes.
You would give up Keon Ellis, you're saying?
For Jared McCain, yeah.
Yeah, so then what else would you add to make the Sixers want to do
I'm saying
it?
Zach LaVine is better than Paul George, I believe.
Okay, I guess you could make that point, but I guess not.
Zach LaVine 5 years younger.
Sure, and less expensive.
Right.
But I don't think you're convincing Philadelphia to give up Jared McCain to bridge the gap between bad contract LaVine and bad contract Paul
change
George.
Change it to the Herter first round thing that we just did, not top 10.
So the top 14.
Yes, that's right.
If they make the playoffs with let me do the math here. If they make I forgot the other part. This deal has to include them trading DeRozan for a point guard. So like call it DeJounte Murray or whatever.
Right.
It would have to be that because then you would have DeJounte Murray, Jared McCain, Paul George, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk,
and LaRavia off the bench,
and Valanciunas.
Man.
Oh, and keep Devin Carter. Actually, let me phrase it this way: would you rather keep would you rather do Jared McCain for Keon Ellis and Devin Carter, or would you rather do the future first round pick situation?
One more time.
So you know how we said it was LaVine, Keon, and the lottery protected first or the top 10 protected first. Would you rather it just be Devin Carter? instead of doing the future first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
I think.
So you're saying Devin Carter now is not worth a lottery pick?
No. Hold on now.
No.
Don't put words in my mouth. I'm saying picks are important.
Sure.
Picks are important. That's all I'm saying.
So if I made it Devin Carter, you get to keep the future first. And again, you have to trade DeRozan for a point guard if this is going to work.
But to be honest, I don't like losing Keon and Devin. I don't like that either, though.
So
I don't even want to do the second.
Okay, so you just don't want it.
No.
You want to give up Malik Monk and Devin Carter and give us Jared McCain.
Yeah, and now.
Yeah.
Literally right now.
Yes, of course. I think we're on the same page there.
Speaking of the draft, we hear from an NBA draft analyst that says to the Drive guys that he's hearing the Kings are aggressively trying to move up. Let's talk about it. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Fidium Fiber. I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Temperatures will be starting out in the low 50s this morning. Otherwise, looking at lots of sunshine, afternoon breezes, and highs in the upper 80s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
It's about time they
fix that pothole.
Invented better windshield wipers.
Made an internet that just works. Fidium Fiber Internet, starting at only $30 a month. It feels like Fidium. Offer available to residential customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See Fidium.com for details.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off. Select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Primer and Ceiling Paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Chuck McDowell here again. Over the years, I've seen way too many timeshare exit companies pop up, take folks' money, and disappear. I just saw an ad from an exit company started by a couple of bozos that used to work for me. My advice, don't hire bozos I fire. Want out of your timeshare? I'll send you our free timeshare exit info kit explaining your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free kit. 800-329-3737. That's 800-329-3737.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last, with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emron Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbfstockton.com. That's mbfstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Man, oh man.
Allen. Allen.
Look, man.
Allen.
I don't know.
Hey, Allen.
I don't know who. All I got to say is we had some conversations yesterday about some reports, and we talked about the reports. That's all we talked about. Okay? And apparently some stuff went down on the Drive Guys that was a little dicey, a little spicy, but my name Bennett, I'm not in it. Okay? That's all I got to say about Trae Young and Darius Garland. We see a report. I am starving like Marvin for some content, and we gonna run with it.
We had a great YouTube clip.
Great YouTube clip. When I do not question things unless you give me a reason to question things. Okay, but this is the Allen Stiles Show. Okay, and Kyle Ledbetter does a hell of a job for us. So we are not going to talk about, and we've dealt with this with callers, right? Callers have called in, and I get it. Hey, maybe you don't have time to call during 2 to 6. So I'm about to talk about this dude during Allen Show. The hell you are. The hell you are. You take that stuff to that specific show, okay?
I'm sorry. I thought you were that guy in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a different conversation for a different day.
Yes.
Speaking of the Drive Guys, NBA draft analyst Rafael Barlow was on the Drive Guys yesterday, and he had this to say about the Kings possibly trading up in the draft. Here it is.
I have heard that the Kings are one of the teams that are going to be aggressively looking to move up. I think Michigan State's Jace Richardson could be in that range.
I like that name. Yep.
He's on the smaller side, measured out at 6 foot. At Michigan State, he didn't really play the point. So I think there's some risk there because he is on the smaller side, even though I just talked about Ryan Nembhard. But with Richardson, he was very, very efficient, but sometimes he played the 1, sometimes he played the 2, sometimes he played the 3. You didn't really get a chance to see him as a full-time distributor. So I think that could be a little risky, and I struggle with, did Michigan State put him in the best position to succeed, or did they actually hold him back? So if Sacramento thinks that he could be a point guard and he had more to his game than what he was able to show at Michigan State, then he could be in that range. I've heard some people think that Diego Dimon could fall outside of the lottery. 6'9" point guard from BYU. I think he's the best passer in the draft.
I don't know if y'all could hear the banging going on, but I'm not even going to lie to you, Kyle, and to the people, everyone listening. I stopped listening after I heard 6 foot, and I definitely stopped listening after I heard more of a shooting guard, and I definitely stopped listening after I heard he played some of the 3.
A 6 foot tall small forward is not.
What was his name?
Jace Richardson. It's Jason Richardson's kid.
I'm telling you this much right now. I'm telling you this much. So when I Google, I'm seeing 6'3", but again, different story, different day.
On Tankathon, I see 6'1 3/4", which is my height.
Why do we have to live like this? And now, after all that, if they move up and they go in a combo guard, I don't know what I would do.
A 6'1" combo guard.
I don't know what I would do. I would say, is Monty McNair? I was just watching Wicked, okay, with Toddler Styles. I was just watching Wicked. Is Monty McNair the Wizard of all? Is he the puppet master behind everything? Does he control everything within the Kings organization? Because that would be insanity to move off of Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox, and to then move up in the draft and take a 6'3" at best, depending on who you ask, based on what hairstyle he has, combo guard.
So you know what's crazy is on Tankathon, it lists him as 6'1 3/4", 178 pounds. I am 6'1 3/4", 170 pounds. Imagine me trying to play NBA basketball. That would be insane. I'm not saying I'm obviously not as good as him, but the idea of being 6'1" and being a small forward, Devin Carter's like 6'3", and we're already having a hard time believing he's going to be a small forward.
Yeah,
in the
that's
NBA.
Crazy. That's crazy.
At least the second guy you said, Igor Demon from BYU, 6'9.5", point guard. But he's also supposed to go at like 14 or 15, so they would have to jump up quite a bit to maybe go get him.
I just don't know that you need to get the point guard in the draft. We know this is a wing-driven league. Just go. I don't understand it, man. Just go get Grant Nelson. You don't have to give up that much. He's going to be later. Kyle, I was looking up his projection. Just go get Grant Nelson. Go get him.
I'm trying to find him anywhere on here. Maybe they don't even have him getting picked. Let's see. Grant. Tankathon doesn't have him getting drafted at all, so I guess that's a good thing for you.
Nelson projects as a versatile connecting big at the NBA level, but his ultimate impact may be determined by whether he can improve his 3-ball and perimeter defense. Comparisons can be drawn to players like Santi Aldama or Kelly Olynyk. He will almost certainly begin his career off the bench as an energy man with hopes to progress in his development to increase his role. Yeah, he might be the beginning. He's going to be end of first, beginning of second. Just go get that. He's 6'11". Go get that. See, Alabama. Him and Keon can talk about Roll Tide. Go get him.
They can trade for Herb Jones. Just get the whole Alabama crew together.
Go get him. What are we talking about? God, I need you to play it again. I need to hear it.
I have heard that the Kings are one of the teams that are going to be aggressively looking to move up. I think Michigan State's Jace Richardson could be in that range.
I like that name. Yep.
I don't.
He's on the smaller side.
How small?
Measured out at 6 foot.
Oh.
At Michigan State, he didn't really play the point. So I think there's...
Oh, so he's 6 foot tall and doesn't play the point, but they're going to trade up.
Why? Are we getting punked?
I do understand the need for a point guard because, like,
he's not a point guard.
Yes, I agree. That's why I'm saying the second guy that he listed at the end, Igor Demon, maybe makes more sense. I didn't even get to him.
My ears just stopped working.
Yeah, I get it because, like, when we keep talking about the secondary point guard options, right? The Chris Pauls, the Tyus Joneses, the whoever's, we're talking about like 20 minutes a game from the point guard position. A rookie late in the first round probably isn't playing a lot more than 20 minutes a game on a team like this. I'm not saying they're going to start. I'm just saying at least you have a backup point guard who can handle the ball at times and defend and maybe is a little bit undersized, but they play above their size. And now I'm just advocating for Davion Mitchell.
I refuse to believe I just heard that. I just dumped that whole segment.
I have heard that the Kings are one of the teams that are going to be aggressively looking to move up.
Cool.
I think Michigan State's Jace Richardson could be in that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's on the smaller side.
How small?
Measured out at 6 foot.
Oh.
At Michigan State, he didn't really play the point.
Oh.
So I think there's some risk there.
And also not said, probably bad on defense.
Yeah, there's no way a 6-footer.
Probably also bad on defense.
No way a 6'1" combo guard is going to be. I shouldn't say that. Davion Mitchell was an elite defender, but Davion Mitchell also was a lottery pick because of how good of a defender he was.
And Davion Mitchell was a specific good defender for other guards. You can't put Davion on a 3. You can't put Davion on some 2s.
Yeah, I think the problem with Davion was always that they just picked him as high as they did.
Agreed. So just bring Davion back. Just bring Davion back. When we return, when we get back, we will hear from Draymond Green, who thinks that the NBA is missing the struggle. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Shea Langoliers exited a game last week after experiencing discomfort following a swing. The A's will have more information as to the severity of the injury after he undergoes further testing. Miguel Andujar, out with that right oblique strain, suffered it during a swing as well. He will be out a couple weeks, if not longer, per the A's Director of Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, Brian Shulman. That was your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
This summer, give your kids a reason to smile, brightly. At Kids Care Dental, we make dental visits fun with a kid-friendly team, easy to schedule appointments, and expert doctors who really care.
Whether it's a checkup, a cleaning, or their very first visit, we've got you covered. We accept most insurances, and we're always ready when your schedule gets hectic.
Smiles grow here. Book online in minutes at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com. Kids Care Dental, where healthy teeth make happy kids.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are two new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
Carmichael Dave here. Golfers, listen up. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, my go-to courses in Sacramento, just dropped the best ball deal of the year. Now through June 15th, when you stop by Timber Creek and buy 2 dozen Strixon golf balls, you get the 3rd dozen for free. I did that last weekend. We're talking the same Z-Star series used on tour, plus Q-Star and Soft Feel, whatever fits your game. It's the perfect excuse to stock up, hit the range, play some of the best conditioned golf in the region. Head to Timber Creek today and take advantage before it's gone.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Summer savings explode at Native's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,000 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado half-ton LT and RST in stock. Exclusively at NativeChevy.com. Now that's big, huge. Together, let's drive.
Deal for details.
Live and local
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
We've talked about some of the disconnect with the NBA in general. And I don't know how much of it is about struggle versus a good story, right? And the more that there's two separate things. There's the actual gameplay. Then there is, and how the game looks. Then there is the stories, the marketability of the sport, and things like that. You know, there have been jokes said about ESPN and how they cover drafts and how there's a lot of conversation when somebody has a certain story and, you know, somebody's father is incarcerated and how tough the story is and why is that the first thing that's being brought up. So there's a balance, just like everything in life. And again, going back to just on the court and also off the court, the marketability of the sport and how the sport connects with its viewers and fans. Draymond had some things to say, and this is making the rounds because apparently a lot of other media members feel the same way about the sport. And Draymond says that the NBA is missing the struggle that it once had. Here it is.
Bron discusses how the next generation are relying more on basketball trainers instead of just playing the game. And I agree with that. I didn't learn how to do a proper individual workout till I got to college. Growing up, I'm going to hoop. Where's the nearest run? Drop me off, I'll play all day. The nuances and things you figure out about the game, it's different when somebody just putting you in a position to tell you to do this move. Like, how do you use your creativity? How do you learn, like, oh man, I can do this if somebody just say, do this? How do you know what you're about? There's a time and place for a trainer, and I think, you know, with where the game is gone, like, you need those resources in order to be successful. I feel like basketball used to be a poor man's game. We all played it. We were poor. We had nothing, and it was all the way out. Basketball is not a poor kid's game no more. Basketball is a rich kid game. Like, the days of seeing LeBron James from Akron, Ohio, from a single mom, those days are numbered. Like, they're not, because if you don't have the resources these days, like, you can't make it. I also feel like that's why, like, you don't see as great a basketball as you did before, because there's no imaginations. Everybody's doing the same thing, playing the same way. And I think a lot of that is due sometimes to having trainers.
That was Draymond Green on the state of the NBA. And, you know, I think Draymond is onto something. And, of course, Draymond was going off of LeBron, who was on the Mind the Game pod, kind of saying similar things. So LeBron actually got the conversation going just as far as when he initially got a trainer. And he said he didn't have a trainer, I think, until he was a couple years in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And Draymond kind of takes the next step and continues the conversation. It's interesting because there's a lot of money, right? And a lot of my friends are having kids, and the conversations are, he's going to be doing this, and I can't wait for that. And I'm not saying I'm terribly different either. The difference is I don't really plan on paying anyone because I played baseball. My wife played softball. So, baby Stiles, you good right there, right? And when you look at how the game has changed and the training, and I just think baseball, softball is a little bit different than basketball, how the game has changed, I also think there's just a level of hunger. My question would be, the amount of teams hasn't changed in a really long time, right? So the amount of players, kids, and the juniors that are out there, you can't necessarily say that there are more per se. And we can look at a Michael Jordan, how his kids played mid-major basketball, and they probably only got that far because their last name was Jordan. No disrespect to them, the one and he's still with Larsa Pippen. No, she's moved on to another guy. But you look at the landscape of everything. Is it simply that the money has changed, that these former players are now because you're an NBA player and you have a son? Yeah, the first thing I would say 70% of them are thinking is, oh, we running it back, which is, I don't think how the thought process of NBA players has changed very much. So, and Draymond isn't specifically saying NBA players. He's just saying people that are well off. So is it just a matter of society changing and money changing and the handling of money and just how, like I said, having a buddy who his kid is doing travel ball at a 7U travel ball team? What has changed to bring us to this point?
I think number one is money, and number two is the finite amount of opportunities to be an NBA player, right? So in 1982, Magic Johnson became like the first $1 million player in the history of the NBA, right? There was no money in basketball before. You had poor, predominantly black American kids playing in the NBA because that was the sport that didn't have money. Baseball was the sport that had money. Beginning around 1996, that was really when, with that CBA and that television contract the NBA signed, that was when the money exploded. You're seeing multiple $100 million contracts. You're seeing rookie scale deal, like Chris Webber's rookie scale deal was like $50 million, right? Like, that's when you're first starting to see the money go from like, you're a millionaire to you're getting generational level wealth if you get one of those 300, 400 roster spots, right? That was 1996. We're now fourth generation of NBA having generational level wealth. And to Draymond's point about like this is a rich kid's game versus a poor kid's game, I kind of think of NBA roster spots nowadays because you're talking about generational level wealth just from one contract, just getting to the league. I kind of think of it the way that you think of like admissions to Harvard, which is just getting to that stage is so valuable for the rest of your life that, of course, people with resources are going to pour resources into getting their kids into Harvard because there's only a finite number of spots and it intrinsically has value for the rest of your life if you get into Harvard. So there's now an incentive to pour resources. We talked about Jared McCain earlier.
So you're saying and not NBA players or non-NBA players, people with that level of money, because of where the money is at now, are using their money differently than they were when basketball wasn't seen as life-changing money.
Yes, or desirable even. Like when you were growing up in the 60s and 70s, if you're a, what would that be, Gen X child, you wanted to be a baseball player because baseball was where the money's at. And baseball obviously is still where the money is at, but basketball now is generational wealth for anyone who gets one of those 400 spots.
Right.
And so I think that's probably the difference between LeBron James from Akron, Ohio in 1983. When LeBron's a teenager, that's when the money starts becoming generational. And he's kind of the first or second generation where it's like, oh, if you get one of those roster spots, you're immediately getting life-changing tens of millions of dollars of generational wealth.
And you see the line because the line is pretty much Steph Curry's age, right? Because Steph Curry is right there on the line where Dell was, I'm sure, did very well for himself, but Dell nowhere near what these guys, for how good Dell was compared to, I don't know, Chandler Parsons or somebody, it's not adding up the same way. So you have Steph, who clearly had more resources than others at that time, but it was not necessarily what it is now. Here would be a good, you're talking about these spots, Kyle. You say roughly about 400, right? Out of those spots, this is where I thought you were going to go when you brought up Harvard. I thought you were going to go the alumni conversation. So let's think about it like this. How many spots in the NBA right now, how many roster spots in the NBA are taken by players where their parents or their dad did not play in the NBA, did not play Division I basketball? Out of that 400, how many do you think their dad did not play, or let's just say college basketball, right?
Sure.
Division or not, doesn't matter the division, a 4-year school. So their daddy played professional basketball, including the NBA, but not only the NBA, or college basketball. How many roster spots do you think, my dad didn't even hoop like that?
I would say it's probably like 30, 40, 50%, but as a microcosm, let's just use the Kings just as a small sample size. You've got Domantas Sabonis, father Arvydas played in the NBA.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray, his dad played Division I basketball at Iowa. I don't know the background on Zach LaVine, but maybe Zach LaVine's daddy was a high-level basketball player at one point. Malik Monk would be in the other camp of parents didn't play high-level, but his brother played college football.
Zach LaVine's dad. So here's the kicker, which we probably should count this. Zach LaVine's father, Paul, played in the USFL and the National Football League.
So there you go, former professional athlete. And again, you can go on down the list, I'm sure. I'm guessing it's probably 40 to 50, but the other part of it is, too, international players now are also getting in on this, right? Like Ben Simmons' daddy was like a star basketball player in Australia, and Ben Simmons ends up being the number 1 pick in the NBA, right? So it's now an international thing as well, because everyone around the world is fighting to get one of those 400 spots on an NBA roster.
Yeah, it is fascinating. And I don't know, to bring it all the way back home, I don't necessarily know that you need it. I don't think that because I'm just looking up, and I think, the DeMar DeRozan would be closer to the stories that Draymond is talking about, just from a quick check here from his history in Compton. I don't necessarily that you need that, right? Nobody cares about the fact that Patrick Mahomes' dad played professional baseball. I don't think you need that in order to market the sport. I think it's more so about storylines, but I do think that it's just a process that we're going through, and it can come off a little carbon copy, to Draymond's point, kind of taking it to the actual gameplay. All these guys have trainers. These trainers are looking at other trainers. They're all kind of being taught the same thing. You're not really learning on the fly who you are as a player. And I know Jacob Wilson, and I know Jacob Wilson's dad said he's going to bat the way he bats, right? And Hunter Pence now, with Hunter Pence, if Hunter Pence in a travel ball league from 7U, they would have said, brother, you're not hitting like that, right? And maybe he's not Hunter Pence. So it's great stuff from LeBron and Draymond, and I don't think you need sad stories in order to market your sport, but it does start to come off a little bit in the product as well. When we return, speaking of Patrick Mahomes and the NFL, we talk about which teams are going to take a leap, which team is going to take a step back, which NFL team is poised to make a Niners-type step back this coming season, as they were in the playoffs and weren't in the playoffs, and in the playoffs, who's going to fall back? Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. Your lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. You know summer is pretty much here, and Father's Day is right around the corner. One way to get dad fired up for Father's Day, trust me, I know, stop into Amy's Outdoor Living and see their ultimate lineup of barbecue grills. We're talking Weber gas grills starting at just $3.99. Traeger Woodridge pellet grills starting at $7.99. That's a great price. Rectech begins at just $5.99. Plus, think about this. Amy's has free setup and delivery. The Gosney pizza ovens, I got one of those, starts at $3.99. Nothing like being out back with your family, making a homemade pizza. Find great gifts for dad like Yeti coolers and comfy hammocks. Amy will pay the sales tax on all in-stock furniture. Family owned and operated, Amy's Outdoor Living on El Camino near Watt, where I used to go as a kid with my dad, and also brand new in the El Dorado Hills Town Center. Tell me your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local, but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Louis C.K. in an all-new show, Ridiculous 2025 Tour.
When I was younger, you had to go in the bank. Remember that? You had to go inside the bank. Now you look in the bank, you're like, what are those people doing in there? Are they cleaning? The money's out here.
Friday and Saturday, June 13th and 14th, 8 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Louis C.K. live on stage.
People are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because they've seen for themselves the huge selection and the best prices at SacSuperstore.com. Good luck finding a lower price anywhere else. And if you do, they'll match it. It's as simple as that. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where a handshake still means something. Open until 10 o'clock and centrally located right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And online at SacSuperstore.com. The guaranteed lowest price and the best selection of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Rams. SacSuperstore.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., 2 hours left with you. And quick shout out. Some of you may listen to KNCI when you're not listening to Sacktown Sports. We're all under the Bonneville umbrella, and we're all in the same building. Pat, Tom, and Cody, one of the longest standing shows in Sacramento.
And America.
And America. And, so many accolades for that show. Tom announced his retirement a couple weeks ago.
Whenever Country in the Park was.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, nearly a month ago, we are doing our going away lunch for Tom. So Kyle and I are going to sneak down at some point and grab some food. But shout out to Tom, outstanding career, 30 years in the game. That's crazy. I've been here for 2, and Lordy. Shout out Tom and Pat, Tom, and Cody, one of the great shows in America.
Man,
to Kyle's point.
What are our lives going to look like in 30 years?
30 years is insane. 30 years is crazy. They don't make them like they used to. Okay, so shout out to Tom and everything he's accomplished.
Jason Ross has been here 30 years.
Shout out Jason Ross, because they don't make them like they used to. Shout out Pat, Tom, and Cody, and to Tom for a great career. We have some texts coming in, and Kyle got people riled up on the on dental offices and the dentist situation. Yesterday, we are getting people a little bit riled up as it pertains to the travel ball. And look, I know I'm going to be one of those parents. Don't get me wrong. Baby Stiles, I already got it figured out. She'll probably be at Stanford. If not, we're going SEC. We already have it figured out. All right. So, and I'm half kidding, but some of these texts coming in if you're just now joining us in the 12 o'clock hour, we're talking about the idea that the NBA isn't the same because it's a rich kids game now, with now the kids of the players that were getting that generational wealth and just the growth of the sport, whether it be, and that's not just the NBA, that's NFL players, NFL kids and guys like that. Or even if you just played at Duke for a high level, got a really high paying job and you're just 6'5" for no apparent reason. All these kids are now getting trainers. The game is different. The vibe is different. So that started a conversation. And I was telling people that I took Toddler Stiles to her first birthday party. She had a great time. And we were out in Rockland. Shout out Rockland. And we were talking with some parents who their kid is in a 7U travel ball team for baseball. 7U. I started travel ball. I was 13. Okay, I said 14 earlier. It was Pony. When I started Pony, that's when travel ball started. So some of these texts coming in. Don't forget NIL money. You don't even need to make it to the NBA to set yourself up long term. That's a great call, 916.
Well, also, beginning July 1st, colleges have to pay athletes revenue sharing.
Now, that's a different conversation than what Draymond is talking about, but just the idea of, hey, it used to be, okay, we got you to D1, but you didn't make it to the NBA. Now it could be, hey, we just want to get you to D1 because you could still leave with 7 figures in your pocket, even if you never get a call.
Which, to that point, just make it 400 instead of 400 spots, just make it 800, right? Like, even being a high-level Division I college athlete
can change your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's still, you have to be one of 800 people in the world in order to be a high-level Division I athlete.
916 says travel ball these days isn't the same either. In the past, if you played travel ball, you were part of the elite. Nowadays, if your kid doesn't get playing time, that kid's parent will start their own team. I did hear about that. Literally, I think this weekend. Travel ball is getting watered down. It comes down to parents wanting to live through their children. These parents didn't play, so now they go to the extreme to get their children involved, in my opinion. That's from Nick. And the last 916 says current parents believe that if they are paying for batting or pitching lessons, then they are getting quality lessons. Yeah, and there's so many draft picks, and I'm not bagging on them, but there's so many draft picks that don't make it. All you have to do is be, and obviously this is really tough, but if you are back in the day, I know it's only 20 rounds now, but you're a 28th round draft pick that made it, I don't know, a couple months or maybe one season in rookie ball, And this is what I would do if I got the call. You take that back to your hometown. You're the hometown hero, and you start a travel ball team, and you say, yeah, I played for the Yankees, and you show everybody your picture and your rookie ball uniform.
Your baseball card.
That's right. And I'm not saying that guy can't play, but they are going to give you all the money because I want my kid to do what you did.
Right. That $40,000 you made from one season of rookie ball. It's honestly less than that. That's how atrocious it is.
I'll be honest with you, Kyle. That was the main reason I wanted to get drafted. I don't know that I ever would have made it, right? Even in my heart of hearts, I look at guys that are similar to me. There was a guy, Jeff Roy, won Player of the Year, Atlantic 10. He was 5'8". He was lefty. He was a center fielder. And we lost to him. They swept us, University of Rhode Island. He got to, I believe, AA. And I said, that's the best version of me, right? That is the best version of my skill set. So I will never know, but now I can go back to Rhode Island or wherever he's living now, and I'm the dude. Right? And parents are going to shell all that money out to me. So I don't know if those are quality lessons or not, but you throw I got drafted as it pertains to basketball, all you need is one dude to go to Duke or one dude to go to Sac State or whoever. And now, hey, we got to give that guy our money because we want our kid to be the next dude that's at UC Davis or Sac State or whatever.
Right. And part of it is, going back to the Harvard example before, is like, if you're competing for something that is intrinsically valuable, people with resources are going to put resources into it in order to get more resources out of it, right? That's why people put their kids in tutoring. It's why people drive to all these extracurriculars. It's why they put kids through SAT prep and things like that, is to build a resume. And schools are a little different because it's like literally a gatekeeping, like you have to be accepted or declined. But in professional sports, you kind of have to have a certain, you talked about it with your kids, you have to have a certain genetic makeup in order to even have a shot at making it to the highest levels, right? Because there's a 6'11", 250 guy from a war-torn country that is happy to come in and take one of those roster spots at the same time. There's a finite number of spaces, and they are all so valuable that it is actually worth it for many of these parents, some of whom played in the NBA, some of whom played professional sports, like even the LeVar Balls of the world. Like, it's worth it to pour millions of dollars into your kids' training to make tens of millions or hundreds of millions on the back end if you're LaMelo Ball.
But that is not the norm, right? For every LeVar Ball, there are hundreds of thousands of LeVar Ball variants that their kid just didn't have it. All three of them kids are 6'5" and up.
Exactly. LeVar Ball played, he didn't play in the NFL, but he got invited to like Panthers training camp one year.
So you don't know you don't know. And then at that point, when you're hitting high school and things like that, okay, cool, let's keep going. But you could already be out hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're way over time. Let's get to the NFL teams that we think are going to take a step back. There's one obvious one. Let's see if you agree with me. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
Obviously, the Niners had injuries, things like that. So is it all their fault? No, absolutely not. But they did still take a step back. They lose a couple pieces, the Dre Greenlaws of the world, the Talanoa Hufungas of the world. So who may find themselves in this position this upcoming season? Now, obviously, you have to be good to be in this conversation. And there is an obvious name that I feel as if we should remove. And this is a tough one, right? So you obviously have the playoff teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chargers, the Eagles, the Rams, the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Commanders. And that's where I was going to start with this, as the 530 says, sophomore slump, Commanders could slide, running game not great, McLaurin played out of his mind, and Debo and the defense just aren't that great. The reason I don't know that we should count the Commanders is because they exceeded expectations. Is that fair or unfair? You know what I mean? If they take a quote unquote step back from somewhere they never should have been, did they really take a step back?
So that's why I kind of went with the teams that won 11 or more games, which is to say, which of these teams is going to drop 5 wins from where they were last year, right? You can pick the Commanders if you think the Commanders are going to win 6 games, but don't pick them if you think they're going to go 9-8 and get the 7th wild card. I'd say pick a team you think is going to be drafting in the top 15 of the draft next year.
Man, I don't know. Based on who you said, I don't know if that'll be any of these teams. And again, these are, your top teams, all the teams with 11 or more wins, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. And it could be none of them, obviously. But who's most likely to drop? Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chargers, the Eagles, the Rams, the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Commanders. I would say it ain't Kansas City. It's not Buffalo. It's not Baltimore. I don't think it's the Chargers because of Harbaugh just won't let it happen. It's not the Eagles. I think it's between the Rams, the Lions, and the Packers. And I don't think it's the Lions. I would say it's between the Rams and the Packers, because the Packers were supposed to have how do you go from having an up-and-coming wide receiver room to no wide receivers? How does that happen?
Well, they took one in the first round this year.
Which is what I'm saying. They weren't supposed to have to do that.
You thought Romeo Dubes was going to be the star?
Dobbs.
I know. I call him Dubes because it's Dubes. That's how it's spelled.
It's to me, and yes, if it's the Commanders is the obvious one, then sure. I'm saying the Commanders did stuff we didn't think that they would be doing anyway. So I think I'm counting the Commanders. Yeah. Besides the Commanders, I would say it's the Rams or the Packers, because I just don't believe in the Packers.
Sure.
To be honest.
You don't believe in Jordan Love.
I want to, but every time I try to, and every time Nicky Bovada, I have a conversation with old Nicky Bovada, he is terrible.
So you believe in the Vikings? Even with you think a 14-win Sam Darnold team can keep it up this year?
Look, I believe in that offense. How about that?
Okay. With Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson.
Yes, I believe in that offense is what I believe in. And they're in the same division as the Packers, who I don't believe in.
So the offense is bust-proof, kind of.
Yes.
Like with Darisaw and everything else and Garrett Bradbury.
And they're in a dome.
Yeah, that's the other part of it. Even though J.J. McCarthy, again, was not a good college quarterback. He was a fine college quarterback.
Look, I don't know. I still don't know when his PR shifted. I have no clue. I mean, is it just the national championship? Maybe it's that simple.
Apparently, people were seeing something in him because they took him in the first round with like the 11th pick. I'm going to go in a different direction here because I think if we're looking for the ingredients of a step back, I think there's a team that has all the ingredients of what happened to the Niners last year.
Okay.
And that is the Detroit Lions. One, they're still the Detroit Lions. Let's not forget that. Two, both coordinators gone, which the 49ers fired Steve Wilkes, but it was also their replacement option that was not it, right? It was They just promoted internally in the middle of what was that? The middle of it was early March, I think, was when they brought Staley on. The Lions promoted Kelvin Shepard, who was their linebackers coach. Their offensive coordinator is now John Morton, who was with the Lions before. He was also basically first-time offensive and defensive coordinator is what I'm trying to say. Both promoted internal, both first time in the job. Their center, Frank Ragnow, just recently retired, and he might be like one of the most if not for Jason Kelsey, we would have talked about Frank Ragnow as like the best center in the NFL for all these years. He just doesn't have a famous podcast. So Frank Ragnow retires. That offensive line is a little shakier than it was before. They still have like 2 rookie corners, and Jared Goff is their quarterback. So if you're looking for someone who might make a big step back, I think the Detroit Lions subtracted a lot at the end of last year and might be back to the pack this season.
Well, I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He's my favorite running back. You know that. But I hear what you're saying simply because I was just talking when I was on with Matt George and Kevin John, I was just talking about Dan Marino and how everybody thought Dan Marino was going to get back, and it's all good. Don't worry about it. He's a young whippersnapper, because we were talking about the Thunder and the Pacers, and obviously nobody's trying to lose. Don't get me wrong, but he'll be fine, right? You're watching Hell's Kitchen or one of these shows. The 22-year-old loses. They'll be fine. They got a great long career ahead of them, but sometimes they're not. And when the Lions, I actually don't know if people felt like this when the Lions lost to the Niners. I think there were people that thought, yeah, they should be back. They're building something. But there actually were a lot of, because I was in that building in Santa Clara, there were a lot of people that felt like the Lions are the Lions, to your point, Kyle. And I don't know what's going to happen. Then they come back on their revenge tour, which revenge tours are about 2 and 2 million for the careers of all professional sports. Revenge tours almost never work, and one of them was the Kansas City Royals.
And they all ran it back. Remember, Ben Johnson turned down the Washington
and
job.
We're going to run it back the same way the Niners stopped saying revenge tour, because they never actually successfully pulled off the revenge tour. And then this season's riddled with injuries after a great regular season. So I don't know that they'll fall off the map, but I'm starting to look back at that game in Santa Clara and say, man, they really tricked that whole thing off.
Well, if they tricked that one off, how do you think they feel about tricking it off to the Commanders?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people don't realize if they had won that game, they would have been playing at home against the Eagles for the NFC Championship. Maybe they still would have lost, but they would have put up a better fight than Washington. Washington gave up 52 points to the Eagles in that NFC Championship game.
They were incredibly injured all season long, though.
No, you're saying Detroit?
Detroit was.
Totally fair. They were more injured before, but yes, your point is correct that they had injury issues, Montgomery on down. I guess my point is that those injury issues are still there. Hutchinson is coming back. Great.
Right.
I don't think...
Did you see that video? This is about a month or so ago. And people were saying, and he's not 100%, but people were saying, his knee or his leg was jacked up. And people were saying, I'm not sure if he's going to get back. Now, obviously, he's not 100% yet, but that video was supposed to encourage Lions fans. That video did not encourage Lions fans.
Well, and part of it, too, is what happened to the Niners last season that led to such a dramatic fall off. A large part of it was injuries. Mm-hmm. So maybe the Lions just have another bad injury luck season, right? Maybe... I'm not going to pick specific players, but maybe one of those skill position players goes down, or maybe
they just had that. The reason I'm not saying the Lions is because I don't know that the Lions will win the whole thing, but they just had their terrible. They just had that. See, they had the Niners season. They just did that.
But they were the number 1 seed. There's no way you can say they won 15 games last year.
But the timing was terrible on those injuries. They were powering through, right? It just never looked right.
I think part of it, too, is like, so remember how the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and then they had a bit of a drop-off, which was a little bit better because they were like 10-1 to start the season and then just fell off the earth the year before. Remember, that was because they lost both of their coordinators and lost their starting left guard and a couple of defensive pieces, and the whole thing kind of fell apart. I think there's a lot of pressure on Dan Campbell, which, to your point, there's also a lot of pressure on LeFleur over in Green Bay this season too. So maybe the Lions just have more talent than the Packers, and they'll be able to withstand it.
When we return, we were on and we were finishing up right when the vote was happening for the Sac Republic Stadium. We give you those results if you haven't heard of them already. Good news if you want that new stadium. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Carmichael Dave here, Father's Day, June 15th, and Timber Creek just handed you the perfect gift idea. Now through Father's Day, when you stop by the Pro Shop, it's buy 2 dozen, get 1 free on select Srixon golf balls. Yeah, Z-Star, Q-Star, Soft Deal, all the good stuff. So whether you're shopping for dad, or let's be honest, you are the dad, this is your sign to stock up and get back out there. Best part, you're doing it at Sacramento's top-rated course, Timber Creek and Sierra Pines. Deal ends Father's Day, June 15th. Go get them.
Hot summer savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,000 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado half-ton LT and RST in stock. Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,000 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Just rating 2011 renewal. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are two new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
We get it. Tariffs are tough. Power tools are getting expensive. But at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, we're solving that problem for 2 short days on June 20th and June 21st. We're putting all Milwaukee power tools on massive discounts. Tons of Milwaukee batteries and bare tools for less than $100. 25% off all regular price Milwaukee pack-out boxes and much, much more. So stop by Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet in Sacramento on June 20th and 21st for some of the lowest prices on tools you'll ever see this year. To see all of what's on sale, visit FastenersInc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Sac Republic Stadium gets unanimous 9-0 approval. They will break ground in August and will open spring 2027. This is from Chris Biederman. The votes on the 2 resolutions, which both passed, were to finalize the agreements needed to begin construction on the project, including the comprehensive project agreement, land purchase and sale agreement, and master funding agreement. The second resolution was the expansion of an enhanced infrastructure financing district, or EIFD, to help fund infrastructure on the project. Both resolutions passed by a 9-0 unanimous vote. The plans call for a 12,000-seat stadium that could expand to meet MLS requirements should Sacramento re-enter the expansion conversation down the road. It will be built to expand to 20,000 and add a canopy to cover the sand to provide cover to the elements. You can see I'm wearing my Sac Republic shirt. Carmichael Dave was wearing the same thing. And good for them, Kyle. I mean, I think we were pretty confident this is how things would go, but I'm sure there were some people out there kind of worried about it. But another cool situation for the city of Sacramento to be a part of. And yeah, we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And you mentioned that the hearing was going on yesterday. Mm-hmm. So obviously at these public hearings, people can go up and speak and talk about it. So many people went up to speak that they didn't vote until like 5:45.
Wow.
They were scheduled to vote. The hearing started at like 12:30. Mm-hmm. They didn't vote until like 5 hours afterwards. There were so many people that showed up and wanted to speak on or against, but mostly for passing the stadium, mm-hmm. which I thought was really cool. Just the idea that these things happen all the time, and obviously it's sports, and sports have more of a connection to people, but to have 5 hours of dozens and dozens of people just wanting to go up and speak about this really is a cool community engagement moment, and the Republic are going to get their stadium, or at least they were now approving this specific deal to get the stadium done. And Chris was kind of outlining there's all sorts of other details in there. There's going to be housing around the area. There's going to be a possible hotel at some point, restaurants, things of those sorts in the Railyards come, 2027 and beyond.
I don't know that there was ever a conversation, when I was in the Bay Area, you would kind of rank the popularity. It was a summer special, right? A summer staple, I would say, when you rank the popularity of teams, because I was on the Warriors flagship, and the Niners were kind of, they went to the Super Bowl and then they stunk, but the NFL is king. So a conversation would come up between the Giants and the Warriors, and the Giants basically started stinking essentially as the Warriors started getting good, right? That last year in 2014 was the last year of the even year magic. And then the Warriors win, what was that, in 2015? So there were always conversations about, hey, where's the popularity meter right now? A couple stinker seasons for the Niners. When it comes to Sacramento, obviously it's always been the Kings, number one. And there was a thought in my mind to where, you can be front runner if you want. Like I said, we don't police fandom on this show, but there was a thought in my mind where if the A's were to turn it around at some point, could they be number two, right? Could they be number two and the Sac Republic drop to number three? Obviously, the A's stink right now, so it's hard to fathom that. But I'll tell you what, we went out, we went to a spot in Natomas. It was Cinco de Mayo. We went out to a spot, and I didn't realize I had a Sac Republic shirt on. And somebody asked me, how do you think they're going to do this season, right? They obviously didn't know who I was or anything like that. They just asked me, how do you think they're going to do this season? And just small talking. And I think coming out here, and you got the earthquakes in San Jose, but that's a little bit different. And the Republic, they tend to whoop on the earthquakes anyway. They got some issues, mind you.
John Fisher's soccer club.
Yeah, there is, some parallels there. But I didn't really understand how hard people went for the Sac Republic until I moved out here, right? You just think the major sports, and then after you think the major sports, you think, I don't know, even major colleges, Power 5 colleges, Power 4 colleges, and then you would have the secondary, I would say your NHL. Well, NHL's a major sport, but your MLSs and things like that. So I really didn't know how hard people went for Sac Republic. Dare I even say the River Cats? And just getting out here and learning that has been a really cool experience. And obviously, people love their Sac Republic.
Yeah, they joke even with the Republic. I've been to the games before, and they joke like people say it's the best kept secret in town, and I'm like, that's kind of a fun way to look at it. But I understand them also wanting to be like, no, we're a major professional sports team. I know that the USL, the league they play in, is considering going to like a tier system, kind of like you would see in European soccer, where there's like promotion and relegation and stuff like that. And I think that would be fun if you have a 12,000 seat stadium to kind of have a not minor league MLS team, but like the same kind of MLS vibe, just on a smaller level at the Division II spot. And I don't think MLS is ever going to happen in Sacramento, because now the expansion fees are like $400-500 million, which would mean you're talking about like an out-of-towner or Vivek stepping in and saying, I will pay the expansion fee to found an MLS team.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening anytime in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think the Republic necessarily do, but even if it isn't, it still can be a really fun experience, because Sacramento kind of has the Kings as the major professional sport, and then a little bit of something for anyone, right? You like college football, we got that here. You got soccer, we got that. You want baseball, we got that, right? There's every other sport you could get excited about is here. And the Republic are kind of like the team that's caught on the most in terms, I'd say, like a cult fandom.
Yeah, I know the Stockton Heat, they don't have the hockey out here anymore, but that's all you're missing. And that's honestly a decent argument, because San Jose is about 2 hours away. It ain't close.
No, I know some people who go out there, but like, why are you going out there for bad soccer too?
Yeah.
That's the other part of it,
well, now it's, bad hockey too.
Well, yeah, the Sharks also been down bad for a little bit too, but even at the same time, right? Like the Republic are a good example of what sports fandom, like they've been here for what, 15, 20 years now or something. Like, it's a good example of, if you invest in professional sports teams here, even if it's not at the professional highest level, you're still going to get people who are excited and invested in it if you put a fun product and put a fun environment around, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing you could say about the whole Republic experience. And it's cool that they're going to get their own stadium to kind of make that feel like a MLS type of place.
Yeah, we'll have more on this as we get closer, but there was an announcement with comments off, of course. The A's announced that Las Vegas, the groundbreaking ceremony will be on June 23rd. There are still some questions about the investments being locked into place. But I saw the graphic, Kyle, that they put out, and obviously I saw the other side of it with the Last Dive bars of the world and some of the kind of Oakland platforms that are still trying to ride for just their own pride, really, and just, saying what the heck is about to happen here when we have this conversation or as we get closer to this. But I really don't know what's going to happen. And I've never said I know what's going to happen. I've always said I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell people, hey, I'm not going to get people's hopes up on this falling through, because I just think people should go. If you want to go to the A's game, go to the A's game, or whatever fan you are of that is in town, and just enjoy it while they're here. Because especially now with some of this field stuff coming up, I don't know what's going to happen. They're going through the exercises to say that this thing is going to happen in Vegas. So, okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I think what's interesting and the story that kind of breaks it down is it's called casino.org, but it's essentially a tourism blog in Las Vegas. Kind of outlines the point that they don't have a funding plan in place, but they're still going ahead and building the stadium, despite the fact that they only have $650 million set on a $1.7 billion, potentially 1.9 after, delays and things like that. They only have about 30% of the funding in place. And John Fisher has said he's going to front the rest of it. They've tried to get people to buy into the A's. They haven't really found anybody. So we'll see what happens. But unless they announce what's going to happen, it's going to be one of those things where they build 20% of it, and then the bill's going to come due, and we got to decide if Fisher's going to write a $200 million check.
Man, oh man, oh man. When we return, Austin Rivers, I've been teasing this for a bit. Austin Rivers has some things to say about where the game of basketball is going. And I want to listen to this with the lenses on of how many players on the Kings fit this description. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
This Father's Day at Lowe's, score free gifts for the greatest dad. Right now, get a free select DeWalt, Craftsman, or Cobalt tool with purchase of a select battery kit. Plus, get a free Werner 2-foot aluminum ladder when you buy an 8-foot fiberglass ladder. Shop these deals and more this Father's Day at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 6/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get Dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store at Kohl's.com for details.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last, with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Big news! Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and millions like you are joining our news revolution. Newsmax is now the 4th highest rated news channel, just behind CNN. Reuters says we're one of the top news brands in America. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax for shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and more. So download our free Newsmax app on your smartphone or TV and start watching. President Trump says Newsmax is truly terrific. Get the free Newsmax app and check out Newsmax shares on the stock exchange. Go to newsmaxinvest.com. That's newsmaxinvest.com. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such an offer would be unlawful.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy, and oh my goodness, I'm born and raised here. I know it gets hot, but my goodness, we're already seeing 100-degree days. Listen to me. You do not want your system to conk out in the middle of June or July or August with one of those big 100-degree stretches. You want to make sure you're good all summer long. And my friends at American Energy Heating and Air can do that with a $24.50 tune-up right now. That's half price. And if you need a new system, $3,500 off, up to $3,500 off in rebates for qualified systems. They've been around since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call them right now, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
At SMUD, we power business with incentives, strategic account advisors, 50% lower rates, and clean energy solutions. We help businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. And we've talked about how the game is changing a lot. Now, we've talked about the NBA and how it's changing as it pertains to the type of players, the training, things like that. But the actual gameplay and what the league is looking for, how the league can trend in different directions. Here's Austin Rivers kind of breaking down how he sees the league. And yes, Doc Rivers' son, he might have got to 10 years. He played for a pretty decent amount of time, and he's doing the podcast thing. And I don't know, I just really like his delivery because maybe we're similar age, who knows? But this is Austin Rivers kind of breaking down how he sees the game. And I want you to listen to this, thinking about it, going back to our conversation earlier, as far as Keegan and Keon, who has more value, and how many guys that Austin Rivers is describing, how many of these guys are playing in Sacramento. Here it is.
Trying to make the NBA right now. Understand that the NBA evolved. Be a student of the game. Look what's trending right now in the league that you want to be in. It's not the NBA what it was 10 years ago. I don't need you to have the bag work. It's nice. Can you shoot consistently? Can you move without the ball? Can you make quick straight line drives? If you can defend, shoot the three, and make straight line drives, I don't need you to hit a double crossover. All I need you to be able to do is catch, shoot, and play to make other players better. If you can do that, you can play in the NBA. The best teams in the league are the teams that have 6 or 7 of these guys. There's not one guy who dominates the ball and has a nasty handle. This isn't the early 2000s where you could throw it to Melo and Melo's doing it. It's a different NBA than that time. You need quick decision, multiple guys who can catch off the dribble. Why are the Pacers so good? Because they have 9 good players. All of them can catch and shoot. All of them can catch and rip and drive or just move the ball. I don't need a guy to rip and swing, pull back, double cross, behind the back, Euro. I don't need all of it. All I need is you to catch and shoot, catch and swing, open pass, defend, play with high energy, NBA.
I don't need you to have the bag work. I don't need you to have the bag work.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
It gets me every time.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yes. Defend. Play with high energy. NBA.
And a lot of people were looking at certain players, right, on their teams. For example, this is the Kuminga conundrum, right? Kuminga wants to have the bag work.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
You go on Instagram, and it's just him in his bag.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
But Kuminga feels like I need 4 of those guys around me.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
I need 4 of those guys around me while I
need you to have the bag work.
While I do my thing. And a lot of, Steve Kerr and a lot of Warriors fans, they feel as if, no, you are Jalen, you are closer to Jaden McDaniels than you are to Giannis, right? That's what it is for maybe not in the style of play, but that's how you need to approach the game, Jonathan Kuminga.
So what's interesting is this is kind of saying, I don't need you to have the bag work.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
But then in the video, he's pretending like he's crossing somebody up. Austin Rivers,
which is crazy. That it's like bag work is just dribble moves, which honestly, like, just dribble straight. That's kind of what he's saying.
But that's what's so funny, because whenever Mark Jones would say DeMar DeRozan, it was stepping into the office.
Going into his office,
right.
Yes.
That's what would annoy Kings fans. He's in his office too much.
Well, I think what it's saying is, I don't need you to have the bag work.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Unless you're one of the 30 best players in the world.
That is correct.
At your bag work.
That is correct.
DeRozan's bag work works when he's on Toronto and playing also with Kyle Lowry.
Yes.
DeRozan's bag work doesn't work as well when he's the number 1 option at age 37 on the Kings.
And that was 10 years. That was when it was different, though.
Yeah, but I think there's still a space for DeRozan nowadays. I'll give you another example. A player who two different teams tried to build around as the centerpiece of their offense, realized that while he was a former top pick, he's not going to be that guy.
Uh-huh.
And then he got to Steve Kerr one time, and it ruined that man's reputation. Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram was supposed to be one of those bag work guys, the next Kevin Durant, number 2 pick in the draft. He wasn't one of the 30 best. 2 different teams gave him a chance to be one of the 30 best. And after that, his value just fell off the face of the earth. He got to 1 FIBA World Cup with Steve Kerr, and it just ruined that man's reputation.
But do we think that Raptors want him to have what did the Raptors pay him to do, though?
The Raptors are paying him to be DeMar DeRozan.
To have the bag work.
Yeah, but at least he's a little younger.
So if we look at this from the Kings' perspective, he says you need 6-7 guys that can just catch, shoot, defend, swing the ball. The Kings got key, and I know centers don't really count for this, right? So we're not counting centers. So outside of centers, so that's 2 dudes in your rotation. Okay, so your rotation goes about, let's say your rotation goes 9, maybe 10 during the regular season. So you have your star, which the Kings don't really have. You have your star, you have your 2 centers, and then the rest is quick decision, high-level shooters and defenders. That is what the Pacers have. You got Neesmith, you got Mathurin, you got Nembhard. You have those guys. Let's look at the Kings now. You got Keon Ellis. He fits that description. You have Keegan Murray. He fits that description. Malik is kind of bag work, right?
Malik is... It's different, though, because Malik Monk can be catch and shoot on the wing.
Yes.
He's a little more versatile.
The Kings, in its previous iteration with De'Aaron, they needed the bag work because you weren't getting it anywhere else.
Yes, but I think there's no point of like Jalen Brunson is another example, right? Nobody thought Jalen Brunson could be this because nobody thought he had the bag work to be one of the 20 best players in the league, which is why he went in the second round, right? If people thought Jalen Brunson, college player of the year and national champion at Villanova, could be anything other than guy in his office working the bag, then he would have been drafted somewhere in the lottery, but that was not the case.
They didn't think his bag was deep enough.
They didn't think his bag was deep enough in the NBA.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So who else?
You need one guy.
You need one guy. And who is okay, so the Kings currently have DeRozan, but that's too much bag work. You're going to move on from DeRozan. LaVine, actually, he can't defend, but offensively, LaVine is perfect for this iteration of the NBA.
But he's also kind of both,
You're
right?
just paying him to be the bag work guy.
But I think when we say bag work,
I don't need you to have the bag work.
I think we're talking about like ability to score at all three levels, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think what you need is a bag work guy and then just a big dude, right? Like you just need a big dude that can score is kind of the analogy that we're making. And then a bunch of lengthy wings. And by the way, if your lengthy wing is also the guy who has the bag work, bonus points.
Yes.
Right? If Kevin Durant is your guy, then awesome.
Well, that's what Kevin Durant is. I would say a Paul George in his prime type. Yes.
A Donovan Mitchell. I know he's kind of a hybrid, but
right.
You either are a primary ball handler or your bag work comes from the wing. And honestly, those guys who were small forwards were often handling the ball.
And this goes out to the nine. I think it starts with 916, but we always go back and forth because 916. The 916 that thinks I hate Devin Carter, because I don't hate Devin Carter. I just didn't think that they were going to draft Devin Carter. I'll say this about Devin Carter. He could be one of those guys that Austin Rivers talking about. You got Keegan, you got Keon, you got Devin Carter on the team right now.
Sure.
Okay. Who else could fit that description even if they don't now on the squad? You got LaRavia. If you can bring back LaRavia, he's perfect for this iteration of the NBA.
I also think Zach LaVine would be able to transition well into one of these catch, shoot, dribble, because he shoots 44% from three, but he makes too much money.
That's the problem. That's the problem. He is perfect for the NBA, but what he's getting paid, you need to do more than that.
Right. Yeah. So I would say the Kings probably have 3 or 4 of those guys, which honestly,
that's not bad.
I also give Doug Christie credit because when he talks about his type of guys, he's kind of describing what Austin Rivers is talking about. So I will give Doug Christie credit in that respect, where his type of player that he would like to coach is kind of what Austin Rivers is describing.
Yeah. So I thought that was great stuff from Austin Rivers, and it made me feel better. Look again, Optimistic Allen today. I hope that 916 is listening. I know you are, Optimistic Allen. Okay, there's not too much bag work going on the Kings. They have guys that can fit the description in this iteration of the NBA.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
I need the bag work, but that's what
I don't need you to have the bag work.
That's what pops on Instagram.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Come on, Kuminga, we don't need it.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Jordan Poole? No, Jordan Poole does need the bag work.
Jordan Poole believed, against all evidence, I can be one of those 20 guys.
Yes.
I believe. And if I don't believe, nobody else will believe.
Coming up next, you won't believe what Andy Roddick had to say about tennis players and where they should fit as far as the athletes are concerned. Now, Stiles, Sac Sports.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Shea Langoliers exited a game last week after experiencing discomfort following a swing. The A's will have more information as to the severity of the injury after he undergoes further testing. Miguel Andujar, out with that right oblique strain, suffered it during a swing as well. He will be out a couple weeks, if not longer, per the A's Director of Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, Brian Shulman. That was your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, the latest class of the A's Hall of Fame will be inducted before the A's play the Reds on September 13th. And what a group, including longtime A's broadcaster Monty Moore and the big three, Hudson, Mulder, and Zito. And when those guys pitch together in the A's rotation over a 5-year span, their combined records 234 and 119. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Trey Songz, live. All the hits, all in one night. Trey Songz. Friday, June 20th, the venue at Thunder Valley. With special guest, Jeremiah. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com and see the show. Trey Songz. Friday, June 20th, the venue at Thunder Valley.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are two new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metalwoods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531, 808-2531 for more.
This summer, give your kids a reason to smile, brightly. At Kids Care Dental, we make dental visits fun with a kid-friendly team, easy to schedule appointments, and expert doctors who really care.
Whether it's a checkup, a cleaning, or their very first visit, we've got you covered. We accept most insurances, and we're always ready when your schedule gets hectic.
Smiles grow here. Book online in minutes at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com. Kids Care Dental, where healthy teeth make happy kids.
KHDK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
You'll never believe what Andy Roddick had to say about tennis players. Or maybe you will. Maybe I'm sleeping. And we are going to hear from Andy Roddick, who also has a podcast, by the way, because why the hell not? Everyone's got one.
I don't know. Tennis, they don't got the money like some other sports, but I'm sure Andy Roddick.
It was just him. It was a very straightforward him in a screen. And the other thing is, Are we still calling them podcasts? I know they're podcasts, but should we just call them shows or streams?
Yeah, I guess they're all video now.
That's what I'm saying. When it was old school, like 2018, it was audio.
Yeah, it was like a radio show, but now they're all visual.
Right. So we're going to get to that, but first, 916-339-1140. Ken wants to talk about the bag work. What's up, Ken? What you got for us?
Oh, what's up, gentlemen? This is what I'm going to say. This is what he's saying, man. You need to bring the bag with work in it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Bring the bag with work in it. That's all we need. That's all I'm going to say. That crossover, the fadeaway, the shot from three, going to the hole, passing, diamond, doing all that. Make sure you have it in the bag, but make sure you know what to do with it.
Right. That's a good call, Ken. And I like to think about, and this guy's one of the best scorers we've ever seen, but there's something going around right now about whether or not LeBron has a bag, and it's been taking over social media. Just, does LeBron have a bag? And a lot of people are landing on LeBron never really needed a bag because he's just bigger and faster than everyone. So does that mean he doesn't have one? I look at LeBron the same way, and everybody jokes him about that one move he has where he's looking down at the ground or at the ball, and then he just shoots. That's his bag. I mean, Giannis doesn't have a bag to me, but he's bigger and faster than everyone. You don't need a bag.
Giannis got that one move. That's drive, Euro step, dunk.
That's why they call him Run and Dunk Man. He is Run and Dunk Man. And LeBron does have somewhat of a bag. It's just you're going to live with this three, so you normally give him enough space because you don't want him to take you off the dribble, and he's faster and stronger than you. So a lot of people have been joking about whether or not LeBron has a bag. The ultimate bags, I would say, Kyle, and we'll finish this another day because I know you're on the morning show the rest of the week, and then you're out. But first team all bag, the two off the top of my head would be Harden and Kyrie.
Yeah.
They're first team all bag.
We're talking about in the modern era, or this generation.
I mean, sure, but did they have bags in the 80s? I don't want to be.
That brother Allen Iverson had a bag.
I said the 80s.
Sure. Let's think back. You know, there's actually, honestly, there's some rules like the NBA. Again, there's kind of a dark history of the NBA around it, of like being palatable to white customers. They didn't want people dunking and having bags.
Dunk and,
so I'm going to say,
I don't know if there was there a no crossover rule?
I don't know if there was, but it was greatly disincentivized.
Hey, don't cross over like that.
Yeah.
Cross over like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chalk that up to some old schism right there. Probably is why we don't have bag works.
Crazy.
I'm gonna say players had it, but I'm not necessarily gonna say it was on display.
They didn't have it like this, Kyle.
Sure, but they were also playing against plumbers. So what do you need a bag work for if you just got to dribble around this plumber?
First team all bag. I don't sleep on Steph's bag. Okay. Don't sleep.
But again, there's layers to it, right? Because I would argue Shaq had a bag, but it was a bag of mostly post moves and like.
Did Duncan have a bag?
I didn't watch enough Duncan to kind of know. Hakeem had a bag, but his was all again post moves, dribble moves. By the there's layers to it, right? When you say Harden and Kyrie, those are obviously guards and primary ball handlers who are going to have a different bag than, say, Shaq, or Hakeem. Also, I think we're also underrating who probably has one of the best bags ever.
Jordan?
Not Jordan.
Kobe?
It's not Kobe. It's Jokic, man.
All right, bro.
Jokic has Jokic passes like Magic Johnson, shoots like Dirk Nowitzki, and we don't talk enough about just some of the insane plays that this man makes.
I guess now we're getting to semantics of the bag. 916. This is from Ramsey, who will be hopping in with us tomorrow for the rest of the week. Rather, Ramsey says Magic Johnson had a bag. He did.
And so does Jokic.
Yeah. If Magic Johnson had a bag, then Jokic has a bag.
Yes. Because Jokic, again, I make only the comparison because Magic Johnson was 6'9" and Jokic is like 6'11". But it's like Jokic passes like the great big point guards of all time. He makes crazy passes down the baseline and behind the back and hitting people with no-look passes while also having the dribble and post moves that make it so that, like, you collapse the defense and he's going to feed a pass between two guys to an open shooter.
I know, Kyle. You've said it before.
I know.
You need to give yourself a glaze drop for whenever you talk about Jokic, just like a donut.
I think we got to hit the
dork.
Yeah.
That one. Just me glazing for Jokic. Jokic is right up there with the very best bags of all time.
916-339-1140. Who is first team, second team, third team, all bag? As if you're just now joining us, Austin Rivers says, the kids are too obsessed with the bag. They just want to dribble and do moves off of the dribble.
They don't need you to have the bag work.
They don't want to focus on just quick decisions. And Kevin O'Connor said the same thing. We are seeing a change in the NBA. You have one dude. Okay, the rest of you need to pass the basketball, need to defend, and need to shoot threes quickly. Okay, we don't need the third option to have a bag. It does not matter. And that's why I think, funny enough, unless you're in a specific position, because that's why I think DeMar DeRozan, as much as I want to believe DeMar DeRozan has a better market than a lot of others believe, I think that's the other side of it where people are saying, DeMar DeRozan plays like it's 10 years ago. And that's a problem. Now, we need about, it's a DeMontis Sabonis conversation. The only difference is you're paying him $24 million, not 40 whatever million. We only need about 70% of DeMar DeRozan. We don't need 100% of DeMar DeRozan because then he's going to take opportunities or whatever. We don't need him clogging up the growth for our players. We need something. If I'm the Rockets, right? DeMar, please don't do what you just did on the Kings. Be about 60 to 70% of that because that's how often, because we still need to develop. We want to win, but you taking 24 shots a game again is not going to help Amen Thompson. We need Amen Thompson to get a somewhat of a bag.
But that's also why it's so fascinating to play with a Sabonis or a Şengün, right? Is the idea, or Vucevic to a certain extent had some of this. I'm not going to say Vucevic was as good of a player as these guys, but like it's so fascinating to play with the pass first point center at the center of your offense because you'd ideally like for those guys to be, like Jokic, where it's like four guys spread all the way out of the floor and let Jokic do what he wants. But with De'Aaron Fox, it's like De'Aaron Fox can get it on the wing. De'Aaron Fox can get it in the middle of the paint. You can run DHOs. Like there's different things you can do with that point center position that I think we saw it worked fine when it was DeRozan or Malik Monk, but it didn't work fine when it was only that guy.
I really hope Chris Watkins is listening because Chris has been on this forever. Obviously, Chris, born a Sacramento Kings fan, Chris has continued to say that essentially, and I don't want to paraphrase, I will confirm with Chris if it comes up tomorrow on the roundtable that Jason Williams may be a smidge overrated, right? Maybe a smidge overrated. And why was Jason Williams overrated? Because of this, 916 on the text line says Jay Will had a bag, and I think that's what people love, a bag. People love to see you be shifty and pass off the elbow. And, Mike Bibby didn't have that type of bag, but he was a better player. And I think that's why everybody loved, I know that's why everybody loved Jay Will because he did. 916, he might be first team all bag.
He had a bag, but also he was doing things that you had like literally never seen before. This is why people talk so, I get people of a certain generation. Again, this is a couple generations older than you and a few than me. It's why people have such reverence for Pistol Pete.
No. Logical Raptors. We have this. The Logical Raptors fanatic is back in our chat. Shout out to the Raptors, I guess.
Because we talked about Brandon Ingram.
And he said, I don't know what type of listening devices that the Logical Raptors fanatic has, but good for them. Logical Raptors fanatic says, Pistol Pete, the OG bag man.
Again, like people of
bag man.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's why people have such reverence for him is because when you do things that are spectacular it's all like people want to see things that they've never seen before, right? Yeah. That's what makes you excellent. And sometimes that's Jokic passing like Magic Johnson and shooting like Dirk Nowitzki. And sometimes it's Jason Williams throwing an elbow pass or Tracy McGrady throwing a lob off the backboard and dunking it in an all-star game, right? People want to see things they've never seen before. And that's where you develop the cult following. That's why Kyrie has such a cult following. He does things with the bag that you haven't seen if you're, born in 2000 like me.
I was wondering if we were going to get this or not. 530 says, stop saying the term bag. It's so damn corny. You sound like two kids trying to sound cool. Well, I can guarantee you, 530, I'm about 97% sure Kyle is younger than you.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
And Austin Rivers is 32. Okay, so now we're gatekeeping bag. Go tell that. How about this, 530? Go tell that to Mark Jones. Go tell him. Go tell him.
Yay. My young kid bona fides are always on display.
The bag that's been a term for a long time.
Kids aren't saying bag no more.
Kids are still saying bag.
Nah, I don't know what they're saying. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. I'm not gonna be the definitive.
You are. You have to be.
I'm not gonna be the authority on all Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah. The problem is, Kyle he's Gen Z, but he's not a normal Gen Zer. He can't really help us with Gen Z stuff.
I ain't got a TikTok.
Yeah, he can't really help us. 530 says we can't say bag. Can we start a list this summer of words that? What are the ages when you have to stop saying certain words? And I'm not going to take this from the damn 530 because I'm going to have to take it when my kids are older anyway.
Sure.
So I'm getting it out now because when I do actually try to sound young, when my kids are 10 and 11 years old, I'm going to take it from them.
Sure, but I don't know if this is going to make you feel worse about how old your kids are going to get one day. But by the time your kids are 14 and 15 and 16, I'm going to be the same age you are now.
I don't know that that's true. We'll check the math on that.
I'm pretty sure it is.
By the time my kids are that old, I think bag will be back. Okay. What else? Don't get me started, 530. Back in we used to say that's tight. Y'all remember that?
That's dope.
No, dope has kind of always been around. That's tight. Okay. Now I'm going to look up. Now 530's got me going. Now I'm going to look up millennial terms.
Were you guys the Islit generation?
I was a little late. Okay. I'm not going to cap. I was a little late.
No, it's bout to cap. You got to say I'm not bout to cap.
When we return, Andy Roddick is capping, so we ain't going to glaze what he's saying about the best athletes in the world. Senor Segway strikes again. being tennis players. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Allen Stiles. Watch the show on YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
A different 530. Why the 530 always hating? The dirty 530. Why is the 530 always hating? Says you guys are too old to start in all caps, to start saying bag. We didn't just start saying it. And now that you guys have brought me here, and we are going to get to this Andy Roddick sound, now I have the most popular early 2000s slang.
Oh, God, you have to look that up.
And now, because I'm just trying to refresh my memory. Because now you've got me going 5. And all my millennials, Gen X as well, 916-339-1140. Remind me of some of these terms since these 530s Want to be on my back.
Let's see if these. Let's run it by the Gen Z kid over here and just see if any of these terms cross the generational boundary.
This is from hercampus.com, and there's a picture of Mean Girls, so that kind of helps. This is from 2022. All right, I just found this during our quick break, and these are the most popular early 2000s slang, and I'm going to go from 30. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm going to go from 30 to number 1. 30, holla, meaning holler.
Yeah.
This can be used on its own as a way to signal your excitement about something. See also booyah.
Booyah is Stuart Scott, so I know that. What we're not about to do is mansplain these terms here. We're just going to say them and see if people
I'm reading this.
Holla, yes, I know. I don't think people were saying holla.
Hold on.
People were saying holla at your boy, but I don't think people were just saying holla.
I'm just reading the good ones, okay? But holla at me means you want someone to give you a call.
Yeah, holla at your boy.
And this is obviously, this person is not. The person is probably Kyle's age. I know almost none of us talk on the phone instead of texting these days, but I bet you miss Gwen Stefani's holla back girl. Number 29, sketchy. Not trustworthy. Your crush only texts you back at 3 a.m. That's sketchy. Number 28.
You want to know what's funny? We shortened that one to sketch. We said that's sketch.
I thought we could say sketch. I can't say sketch. I'm 35.
No, I'm just saying if sketchy was the millennial term, then our generation shortened it to sketch.
What's next on the list? And I don't see tight. I'm trying to see if tight's on here, but maybe somebody on the Sac chat said they still say tight. Talk to the hand. Okay. Take a chill pill. At number 26, faux shizzle, meaning for sure. That's all I got. And then they say in parentheses, thank you, Snoop Dogg. 25 is sweet. We don't say sweet anymore, or the kids don't say sweet anymore.
I think we just say dope.
Yeah.
Which is honestly a really sad commentary on the state of affairs of things.
24 is peeps, short for people. Your peeps are your ride or dies. Peeps walked so besties could run. Number 23, newbie. I don't know about that.
Newbie, like new person? Like what is newbie?
22, rents, a shorter way to say parents. No, I'm going to skip some of these. 20, booyah. I never said booyah. I never said that. Okay?
You never said booyah?
Booyah! You know who said that? That's my dad. My dad would say that.
That's Stuart Scott. So
but
I guess
he's not the only one that said it, though.
Yeah, but
it's a saying.
Yeah, but that's kind of
faux shizzle. Okay. Faux shizzle. That's so bad. Faux shizzle. 19. Did anybody say chillax? I never said chillax.
Yeah, that was kind of chuggy by the time we came around.
Kind of who?
Kind of chuggy.
What is that?
You don't know what chuggy is?
No.
That's too bad.
I think you made that up.
I did not. You can Google it.
I don't know how to spell that.
Honestly, I don't either. Let me just make sure. It's Chueggy. Cheuggy. It's kind of like something that was cool like 10 years ago, but is now kind of cringe.
Wow.
Like, for example, The Office is chuggy. It was cool. It's super cool 10 years ago.
That is some Gen Z shiznit right there. 18, mega, similar to cool. I've never heard that. 17, home skillet. 15.
Hold on. There's no way people your age were saying that.
No. Another friendly shizzle. Another friendly term for another person. Example, what's up, home skillet? Shizzle. Synonymous with home slice. 15, was cracking. W-A-Z, cracking.
That I need to know who's writing this article. Are they allowed to say that?
14, poppin', meaning cool. See lip gloss by Lil Mama.
Yeah,
I still say poppin'.
We definitely said that.
I still say poppin'. That one's not leaving. Faux shizzle. 13 is dog, D-A-W-G. Stop that. Dog ain't done. Dog ain't done.
I'm not the person who can answer that.
12. Oh, yeah. Sorry. 12, bounce. A substitute for leaving. I say I'm bouncing. I know later it turned into dipping. I don't know what the kids say now, but I still say I'm about to bounce. So
I'm about to dip is what people would say.
11, peace out.
I don't really think
a fun
people said
substitute
that.
for goodbye. People say peace. People still say peace. You ain't gonna tell me that people don't say peace no more. All right, peace. I guess the only people I talk to are people my age, and we all say peace.
I don't think we say it like that. I wouldn't have thought of it as an official term.
10, this just reminds me of the start of the X Games, stoked. Essentially a more relaxed version of being ecstatic. Being ecstatic about your birthday, for example, is different from being stoked about not having geology homework. Faux shizzle. Tony Hawk had me stoked when he hit that 900.
See, maybe this is the problem because now I'm crossed over with San Diego slang.
Yeah.
I think people in San Diego were saying that. I'm not sure that was an everywhere thing.
Baller, number 9, similar to awesome as a way to describe things being cool. That was baller. Yeah. 8, let's go quickly here. You got served. Basically saying you served them and busted their ego. Okay? And great movie as well with Omarion and B2K. 7, owned. We know people don't say owned anymore.
No, that's Chugi. You're not saying, I owned. You know who is saying owned you? Middle schoolers. That's who's saying you got owned.
Yeah, dude. Here's the example. Yeah, dude. I owned you at Mario Kart. They are roasting so hard here. Number 5, word. Word indicates that something is either understood or appreciated. Yeah. Okay,
No,
I'll take word.
People just say that's what's up.
I'll take word. 4, trashed, synonymous to crunk. So they have crunk at number 2. Crunk, synonymous to having a good time. Let's get crunk. And then, which could mean anything between sober fun or not sober fun. Then they have trash, which says synonymous to crunk, except definitely not sober.
Yeah, I think we still use those terms.
That's what I'm saying.
Crunk, definitely. I've heard that one many times.
3, that's hot. Usually used sarcastically. That's hot. And I mean, I don't know. Isn't that just people making fun of Paris Hilton? And number 1, bling. Basically, shiny stuff on clothing. This could go anywhere from bejeweling to jewelry in general. Bling is a simple way of saying that someone has an extensive amount of sparkle on their outfit. Looking here at the text line, some honorable mentions. Fire. That's fire. Yeah, you're right, 916. I missed that.
But again, I think fire kind of got replaced with... I think fire just evolved into...
All right, which words, you millennials and Gen Xers, and even you older Gen Zers, which words did we forget about? When we return, you won't forget what Andy Roddick has to say about tennis players. Allen Stiles, let's get crunk. Sacktown Sports. Faux shizzle.
We get it. Tariffs are tough. Power tools are getting expensive. But at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, we're solving that problem for 2 short days on June 20th and June 21st. We're putting all DeWalt power tools on massive discount. Batteries for less than $100. Combo kits for under $150. 20% off all regular price tub system boxes and much, much more. So stop by Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet in Sacramento on June 20th and 21st for some of the lowest prices on tools you'll ever see this year. To see all of what's on sale, visit fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at ChooseMat.org.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy, and oh my goodness, I've I'm born and raised here. I know it gets hot, but my goodness, we're already seeing 100-degree days. Listen to me. You do not want your system to conk out in the middle of June or July or August with one of those big 100-degree stretches. You want to make sure you're good all summer long. And my friends at American Energy Heating and Air can do that with a $24.50 tune-up right now. That's half price. And if you need a new system, $3,500 off, up to $3,500 off in rebates for qualified systems. They've been around since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call them right now, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
According to Bogey Jones in the Daily Divot, golf is the best sport ever, and they provide a few reasons why. Some include no two courses are the same, so you'll never get bored. Some are wicked long, others have super thick rough, and others have fast greens. Enjoy the variety. You can make the game competitive with anyone. With other sports, bigger, stronger, younger opponents may have an edge. In golf, different tees and a formal handicap system makes it competitive, even if you're a 30 handicap. Golf can't be conquered. One day you can't miss a shot, the next day you want to throw all your clubs into the lake. The unpredictability is fascinating, and age is just a number. You can play when you're 70 years old. In fact, some don't take up the game until later in life, but don't wait that long. And you'll meet amazing people, celebrities, athletes, successful CEOs. You never know who you'll meet on a golf course. And oh yeah, it's a game. So have some fun. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
$916 says, did you guys mention bedazzle? I think that one will last forever. It can be used in so many different ways. Isn't that a verb? To bedazzle something?
Or, yeah, I guess you can have a bedazzling performance.
Yeah.
But that's not I guess that's more of an adjective. I guess it's a verb and an adjective.
Okay. We really got to stop here. We really got to stop here. And actually, funny enough, this 916 is saying it can be used as a compliment or insult. Bedazzle you. I don't know, 916. I don't know about that.
Look, I'm sure there's also a whole subsection of just TikTok culture that we're just not aware of.
I don't think that's supposed to, yeah.
Maybe this is...
Nick says, all right, late. I remember that one, Nick. You're killing me.
Shorten later to late?
Yeah. All right, bro. All right, late. Why? Why did we do that?
There were a couple that we shortened too. I forgot the one we were talking about earlier. There were some that just got shortened over time.
All right, late. That was a good one. That was a good one, Nick. That was a good one. All right.
Someone said Mollywop. That person must be at least like 60 years old.
No, stop it. 916 Mollywop. That was, yeah, I remember that. That's middle school for me.
Oh, when was that? The 1980s?
I think that still gets said though.
Mollywop? Yeah, but I usually think old people say that. I usually think old people say that. I'm sorry, I sound like such a kid right now.
Oh, yeah, you do. You sound like you don't know what any of this means.
No, there's some crossover here. Like I said, some of them have evolved over time, right? So we said instead of that's fire, we say
yeah. 707. I joined late, but was hyphy listed. Definitely barrier term. Yeah, hyphy. That's us. That's the Bay.
That's also your generation.
Yeah, that is literally. It's the welcome dance. 2026, 2027, they say keep room for the Holy Ghost, but when they turn around, there ain't no room for the Holy Ghost in here.
Wait, is that what you guys called it?
That's what, yeah, you dancing, you feel me?
I get it. We would always say leave room for Jesus.
Yeah, the Holy Ghost or whoever.
Sure.
Whatever entity, and they turn around. You got to do what you got to do.
I regret to inform you and our friend the 916 on the text line, or 707 on the text line, but hyphy did not make it to the next generation, unfortunately. It began and ended with your generation.
It never really went away. All right, Kyle, let's get to this Andy Roddick sound that we've been teasing for the last 25 minutes. I'm going to hear about this in my next show meeting, by the way. But it was worth it. Okay.
What do you mean? We haven't seen this much engagement all day.
It was worth it. Let's hear from Andy Roddick, and this should keep people a bit hyphy as well. Just play the sound.
I think tennis players are the best athletes in the world. 5 hours and 40-something minutes on the biggest stages. You compare this to other sports. An NBA game is 48 minutes played in air conditioning where you have teammates, halftime, timeouts. To say one thing doesn't mean you're throwing shade at someone else. I'm celebrating and applauding one set of athletes. It's the most complete examination of an athlete that I can think of. You know, we used to get viewed as like, oh, you're soft like country club sport. I don't know that narrative exists. I don't know how you can watch and not say the athleticism on display is otherworldly. I think tennis players are the best athletes in the world. The more I watch it, the more I think it. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know that Andy Roddick is wrong because in classic summer staple fashion, right, we will talk about the word athleticism and what it means. There's athleticism versus skill and things of that nature. He can make the only thing I heard in his argument, and that's a promo clip, of course, for his podcast. The only thing that I heard was that they are the best conditioned athletes. And if he wants to have that title, he can have that title. But I don't know that being the best conditioned athlete makes you the best athlete. That's my biggest kind of question on it. I went back and forth with a buddy of mine who he's all first team, all country club sports. He's really good at golf. He's really good at tennis. Now he hates pickleball, by the way. He's just into all of those type of sports. And he responded to me when I posted this on social media, and he said his argument, he tried to pull off the fact that a tennis player, right? A tennis player can pick up a ball or can pick up a basketball. Basically, they're the best well-rounded athlete. He says, this is my guy, Hubie. Shout out Hubie, recently engaged. Shout out Hubie. Says, tennis players are good at every other sport. Nobody else can hit a tennis ball. Fitness aside, I think he's on to something. I responded saying that's a tough argument because everyone grows up on a basketball court, baseball field, football field. You're not playing pickup tennis. So the fact that tennis players are good at more typical sports, that doesn't, to me, help the argument that they're the best or / well-rounded athletes. I think that baseball players are really well-rounded, but I would never say that baseball players are I guess my buddy Hubie is trying to combine the fact that they are the best conditioned with the most well-rounded. My argument is I can't count tennis because, and I think I saw somebody, it was PK Subban, right? PK Subban, because we're deep in here now. This thing has been going around for a while, which means we are in June. And PK Subban says, and I believe Stephen A said it was basketball. PK Subban says, put LeBron on skates. Again, my argument is if LeBron was born in Canada and was on skates, he'd be the freakiest hockey player in the world. So well-rounded, that is really tough for me based on how often typical kids are playing a sport. But most conditioned, if Andy Roddick wants to go in that, 5 hours, I hear him on that. And I can't even really say that he's for sure wrong because I don't know. Is it basketball players? Are we talking well-rounded or, like I said, the best conditioned?
Yeah, it's tough because there is an answer to this. The best athletes are the biggest, the fastest, and the strongest. Those are often the best athletes, right? If Aaron Judge played football, I bet you Aaron Judge would be excellent at football.
Right.
He happens to be a baseball player, and because he's so much bigger and stronger than many of his counterparts, he's able to do things that baseball players smaller and not as strong as Aaron Judge can't do. And that's no, slight on them. They're still world-class athletes. There's just levels to even being a world-class athlete that become evident when we debate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus Anthony Edwards, right? There's even levels to world-class athletes. So I think to Andy Roddick's point, the very specialized skill set of tennis is something that not every athlete can pull off. Like the people with the big frames in tennis are the ones who often suffer the most injuries because tennis is such a mobility-based, like agility, quick movement, and power-based sport that it's not necessarily an advantage to be 6'9" and be a tennis player.
And Andy Roddick is not bringing up the well-rounded thing. He, like I said, that was my buddy who is really big into tennis. Andy Roddick, in that clip specifically, and he said to argue with that clip specifically, only brings up the fact that they are the best conditioned.
Yeah, and he's making the point of endurance and quick agility and those skill sets being unique, which the counterpoint to that in a team sports setting is probably soccer, I would say. Because
I thought about soccer too.
Because soccer players run like 10 miles, but also have to have the quick agility to have quick bursts and movement with their feet and stuff like that. But again, it's apples to oranges is what Roddick. He's talking about the very specialized skill set, though, of endurance and quick agility, which he's, I guess, arguing that those are the most important athletic feats.
And he's not wrong. I mean, the funny thing is, I want to say he's incorrect, but if you say, Allen, well, then which athlete is the best athlete? I don't know. I don't know.
That's why I say the answer is the biggest, the fastest, and the strongest. Those are the best athletes.
Well, then I know soccer players are bigger than you think, but soccer players, even now that Andy said it, they're running the whole time. But I mean, it's just you in tennis. So if you are, you're a defender or whatever, you're not running, you're moving up and down, but it's not tennis.
But tennis also has the stop and start thing like baseball does.
It's quick stops, though.
It's quick stops, but there's also timeouts and there's also, breaks in between and stuff like that.
I do think it's probably – I don't want to – you got to throw basketball in there because there's only 5 dudes. Because if you're throwing soccer on there with, more guys on the field, you have – it's not football. I know that. It ain't football.
It's probably not, but football, you're probably going to get the strongest because your body will physically break down if you're not strong enough.
Yeah, it's not football. I know somebody's going to hop in and say boxing, and somebody's going to hop in and say F1 because that's hot in the streets right now, or NASCAR. But we'll continue this conversation as we get through this summer, as Whitey Gleason will join us on the other side to close out the show. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
This is Secret Clinical Dominating Extra Stinky Stress Sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Is your AC on the fritz? Call Bell Brothers. Looking to replace your old unit with a 0% financing and no payments for 12 months on approved credit? Call Bell Brothers. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. The price we quote is the price you pay. We are the No Surprise guys. Call today to get a free estimate on a new HVAC system, or simply schedule your $87 AC Precision tune-up to keep your system running smoothly. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience, we get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's nosurpriseguys.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The cards are lining up with Sky River Casino's $130,000 weekly Baccarat tournament. Every Thursday, now through June 26th, is your chance to share in $10,000 in prizes, with a guaranteed weekly winner taking home $5,000 in prizes. Feeling lucky? Your first hand is on us. Visit skyriver.com for complete details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacsuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. Sac
Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Whitey Gleason joins us. Whitey.
You say hello to me as Brent Rooker says goodbye to that drive over the left field wall. 2-0 Athletics. Alan, back to you.
Whitey.
Yeah. What's up?
What did you think about what Andy Roddick said? It's that time of the year.
Well, as you guys discussed, it's kind of silly to say the guys from this sport are better athletes than the guys from that sport. Because as Kyle was saying, you can find guys in each sport that are really good athletes no matter what sport they play. Aaron Judge he could play other sports. So the whole, premise of the people that play this sport are better athletes than people that play that sport, that's pretty iffy. That said, I think I could find a lot better athletes playing linebacker in the NFL than I could find on, the pro tennis tour.
Yeah, there was back in the day and earlier in the show, we were talking about how Draymond mentioned how the game is changing and how basketball used to be a poor man's game. Now it's a rich man's game. Over the weekend, we went to a birthday party, and I was talking with the parent who coaches his son's 7U travel team for baseball. 7U. Okay, I started travel ball when I was 13 years old. And I say all that because my parents sent me to IMG back when it was just now kind of growing into what it is now in Florida. They were just expanding outside of tennis. So there was a bunch of tennis players there and just a couple of us as they were building out the baseball program and things like that. So we would all hang out when we weren't, training or whatever. And they were convinced because, this is 06, 07. This is the heyday of Albert Pujols, also Rafael Nadal. So there was a running conversation that they started, and they said, no, you guys don't understand. Rafael Nadal would beat Albert Pujols up in a fight. And I just kept saying, you guys are insane. You guys are insane. But now I'm wondering, well, would he have maybe outlasted him from the standpoint of, hey, well, these guys are playing for 5 hours. Pujols might be bigger than Nadal. And I think tennis players are also shady big and shady tall. They're not a lot of smaller tennis players. So I thought, maybe they're onto something after all this.
Baseball players, by and large, are at the lower end of the athletic scale. I know there are players such as yourself. I don't want to cast aspersions on your athleticism. Good speed, not a burner. But in general, I remember when my mom told me years ago, the pitchers are the best athletes. I was like, what? Yeah. She said, yeah, the pitchers, that's why they pinch run. I think why are the pitchers always pinch running, which is not as much of a thing now.
No.
Because they're the best athletes.
Yeah.
But, to play first base in the majors, you don't have to be a great athlete.
Right.
To be an NBA player, you have to be a great athlete.
Yeah. I think that somewhere between basketball, if you want to throw tennis in there, you can find basketball, tennis, and soccer. It's probably those three for me. The only other one.
Why is tennis so high?
I don't know, because Andy Roddick just said it. I didn't have it. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to be respectful. The other one that I don't know.
NASCAR?
No, because someone's going to say that. I was going to say, what do you do with hockey? Because hockey will tire you out. Hockey will tire you out.
Yeah, that's just an amazing blend of such, specialized skills of skating, and then also you have to run into people. There's no other sport quite like that I think of. I don't think I could play it. I look at it, I go, yeah, I could never do that.
Hockey?
Yeah.
You could get out there.
I could be a goalie.
Yeah.
Be the greatest goalie ever, sure.
What's coming up on the show today?
Today?
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk to Kevin Pelton.
Okay.
Kevin Pelton, who's going to, he tends to take kind of an analytical look at things. So we'll ask him about the finals. That's not till later in the show. So between now and then, we'll preview the upcoming game tonight. Look at the keys, of course, and continue to sift through all this Kings intrigue. What's going on? What is going on? What should be going on? And when is something going to happen, Alan?
Yeah, I'm looking here at what Shams had to say about Tyrese Halliburton. He wasn't on the injury report. This is the quote. He wasn't on the injury report. Everything I hear, there's no concern about his status tonight. All the feel is he's fine. He's going to be good to go. I mean, he was limping pretty good after game 2, but it's the final, so it kind of is what it is. I'm not really sure what to do with that.
He's
I don't
getting
know.
shut down whether he's healthy or not. It's just a terrible matchup for him.
Yeah. And they
I love the guy.
Well, they haven't really. I'm trying to think because there have been hybrid zones and things like that. Who's been has it been Shea? on him? Or, I mean, you could take your pick.
Torture Chamber.
Well, even if they switch, yeah, whether it's Kaysen Wallace and Torture Chamber, Caruso. I think Kaysen Wallace going to be, I don't think many people know Kaysen Wallace's contract off the top of their head, but is he going to maybe be the biggest winner out of all the Thunder? Let's say Thunder win the whole thing, right? Could he be the biggest winner as far as his future? I don't know how old he is. I don't know anything about Kaysen Wallace, but now all of a sudden he's a major piece on probably a championship team.
Right. Yeah. His profile will have probably risen the most.
Yeah. Sure. Because we all know about Torture Chamber. We all know about Caruso. Then they got this guy, Kaysen Wallace.
Just think, Alan, it depends, of course, who's on the floor. But let's say you get a switch. Dort's on you get a switch. And then it's like, oh, great. He's done on me. He's like, hello. Oh, it's Caruso.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Right. And I think the both of them on top of having obviously Shea, right? But the two of them, you got Shea, and then whether Hartenstein or Chet and Shea, it's those two guys give you just enough offensively to survive, because I think it's the classic thing we just saw with the Celtics. You want to go out and, the Kings or whoever. I think these guys make every team they're on better, but it is a specific situation where, fine, you want to go. We just saw Caruso on the Bulls, and they weren't in the fight. They weren't even in the playoffs, and they had DeRozan and a bunch of different guys. I think it's a perfect blend right now where you could put the Torture Chamber and Caruso on a different team, and you might make the argument we can't play them both at the same time because we need more offense.
Yeah, they are an excellent defensive team, and I hope, if nothing else, the Kings learn from that. They look at these finals and learn defense does matter. Whoever had the idea, we'll be good on offense and okay on defense.
Yeah.
You're not going to win anything that way, Alan.
No, and that's what Austin Rivers is saying. Don't need the bag work anymore. You don't need the bag work. All right.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson coming up next for the next 4 hours. Thank you for listening to the Allen Stiles Show. Thank you to the callers, texters, Sac chatters. Thank you to Kyle, as always. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Let the beam.
I don't need you to have the bag work.
Faux shizzle.
Don't forget my podcast.
Gotta go.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does